Paul, an opportunity to catch Ubaldo Jimenez in the first pitch of the ball game, just beneath the knees to Juan Pierre. Ball one. And this is a flare to left, and it drops foul. But, you know, I was about to say, here we go again, George.
Well, I watched it yesterday with him. He just slapped it down the line. Then he dumped it in between the two the day before out in the outfield. And, uh-oh, he'll come up with a double at times with Juan Pierre. You know, you mentioned Paul Phillips behind the plate, and it's one of the few times I've got to watch him over an extended period of day. But just watching early, nice to see him move in and out and work quietly behind the plate.
1 ball, 1 strike. And that's inside. 2 balls and a strike. Juan is 3 for 13 in his career matchups with Ubaldo.
Wait a minute, it's the lowest career earned run average at Coors Field. Ball right back to him. He'll be able to make the play with 351 earned run average.
So Juan is retired. That'll bring up Mark Loretta. Let's get it downstairs with our first Mike Shaw auto update of the day. Here is not Mark Loretta, but Mark Stout.
Thank you, Drew. I'm out here by the Rockies bullpen. I got a chance to watch Ubaldo and Paul Phillips warm up. I talked to Paul Phillips prior to the game at length, wondering if he's familiar with Jimenez. He said, yeah, he caught him on the side in spring training. Not a big deal, though. He said, guy's got to throw strikes. He knows his pitches. There was a 10-minute meeting or so with Ubaldo, Bob Apodaca, and Phillips. And they're on the same page. And remember, this is a guy that's been in parts of the major leagues the last 5 years. And George, you said it, 10 years in pro ball. So he's a professional, and he's ready to go if you're wondering about Phillips and the battery today with Jimenez, guys.
Mike, the one thing you have to adjust to if you're Paul Phillips is the velocity and the break of Jimenez's pitches on his slider and his curveball versus other guys that you have caught, because they are very explosive to the plate.
Well, he's missed on 3 straight to Loretta. It's 3-0. And George Phillips, a reminder to people out there, Phillips was in big league camp throughout the spring with the Rockies. It is the job of every catcher to make sure he is familiar with the pitching staff. So again, it's not far in catching Ubaldo Jimenez for him. He has not caught him in a big league game during the regular season, but he knows his stuff, and he probably has some familiarity with his movement.
And probably the easiest way to put it, him catching Ubaldo Jimenez will not win or lose this ball game today.
Nope.
I mean, he's a very good receiver behind the plate.
He's a pro.
Absolutely.
He's a pro. 3-2 now on Loretta, who owns a .361 career average at Coors Field in 49 games. You got a guy like Loretta coming off your bench, you have a solid bench. And that's upstairs, and ball 4. So a 1-out walk to Loretta, and that'll bring up Orlando Hudson. Let's take a look at our Burt Auto keys to the game. George?
Well, I think they're pretty simple at fourth right to put out 27 outs. No mistakes from the pitching staff. The hitters swing the bats well and obviously make the plays behind them. I think patience with Kershaw is going to be a huge thing that first and second time in that lineup to make him throw the ball over the plate and to get it to Street. Well, I mean, folks, have a lead in the 9th where you can hand him the baseball to close it out.
I mean, Jeff Houston's kind of the lost guy. You forget that he's really throwing the ball well because the Rockies can't get him in the game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you think about what he did in Detroit, saving the 2 games there, and just haven't got to him now. And it's one of those things, is George touched on it early. Try to get a lead early, and so you don't feel like you're playing uphill the rest of the game.
And that pitch misses to Orlando Hudson.
Well, it's really nice down here today, guys. There's very little wind or so. The field's just immaculate. A little bit of water out there. They were able to cut the grass today. So you look for Ubaldo. Yeah, you think he's a strikeout guy, but he's also a ground ball pitcher. So the guys are ready. It's going to be a little bit faster infield than what we've seen the last couple nights.
That's fouled off 1-1. Hey, is Raz nearby? Mark Razum, head groundskeeper?
Yeah, he always is tucked right back in the corner just to the left of me, about 7 feet or so away.
You remember the couple $100 I gave you earlier? Would you mind asking Raz if his crew could go take care of my lawn, because I can't even see the backyard anymore?
Well, I'll see what I can do. I'll let you know in between breaks.
You better get a little bit more than 200 for that 2 acres over there, pal, because he isn't coming out for that.
Here's the 1-1. It's in there, 1-2.
Huey and I won't even come for that.
No.
I'll bring the weed eater.
I got to get on the tractor. The tractor's going to be the
day off tomorrow.
Yeah, that's on the agenda. Well, this is another indication of how good the Dodgers have been this year, fellas. They've outscored the opposition 45-14 in the first inning. Think about that. That's 3-1. It's more than 3-1.
Well, what that does, it gives that comfort zone to their starting pitcher that they're running out to the mound.
And also, they must be doing their job, having only given up 14 runs.
Absolutely.
Well, it's all about confidence. When you go out there, I'm sure, George, and you got a 2-3 run lead before you even take the hill. That's got to feel pretty good.
2-2 on Hudson, and this is slowly hit. Tulo's going to have one play, maybe. Did he get him? Yeah. He got Hudson by half a step. That's a great play by Troy Tulowitzki. Going to second on the fielder's choice is Loretta.
Well, it's all about the exchange and the ability to read the ball off of the bat. Jammed him with a heater in. Ubaldo's not able to get to it, and then that quick exchange and the throw over.
What I like
just got him.
Yeah, about 2 steps before he got to the ball, he really circled around and went more towards third base before he was able to come get the ball. And then the half step and the stride there by Helton to help sell it to Ted Barrett, the first base umpire.
Yeah, it was a good call by Barrett. Scott Barry's behind home plate today as James Loney steps in. Ted Barrett at first, Tim McClellan second, Andy Fletcher third, and Loney takes inside. Scott Barry was behind home plate during the last homestand, and that controversial call on Seth Smith. He said he left early, tagging up on a fly ball off the bat of Tulowitzki, and replay showed he did not. This is punch to left field. It's going to drop. Now here comes the throw from Merton to the plate. It's offline, and the Dodgers score on a bloop single by Loney. So Loretta moves to second on a slow ground ball by Hudson. And a little sand wedge to left, and LA's got an early lead.
And again, a pretty difficult pitch, too. Look at this ball up in the strike zone a little bit, but it's moving away from him at 95 miles an hour. And sometimes you just tip your cap, folks. When all clubs are playing the way the Dodgers are, they'll hit mistakes. They'll hit balls that are nasty pitches. They let things like a one-out walk lead into a run in a ball game, and that's what's happened here. Loretta's able to score.
But again, if you don't put a guy on, Rockies, Ubaldo Jimenez on a 3-2 pitch, he walked Mark Loretta. So, that set up the bad break of the slow ground ball. One play for Tulowitzki. That's first. Now he's in scoring position. Yeah, you made a good pitch, but it's up in the zone. It gets hit out over shortstop with 2 outs. Loretta scores. Russell Martin at the plate. His bat gets blown up. The Rockies will have to counter 1-0 LA as they get a run on 1 hit in the first inning. Carrying the groceries.
Do anything to get on TV. Show off.
Let's take a look at Clint Hurdle's lineup today for the Rockies against Clayton Kershaw. Dexter Fowler will lead things off. He's got a .264 average. Troy Tulowitzki to follow. Todd Helton and Matt Merton, Ryan Spilborghs, Garrett Atkins. Clint Barmes hit a home run last night, his 5th of the year. Paul Phillips and Ubaldo Jimenez. In the Fidelity scouting report on the 21-year-old Kershaw, reads like the following, George.
It really does read like the following. It's popping up as you speak right now. Here it is. Yeah, you're going to see a fastball 89-95, the hard curveball at times, slider at times, more curveball than slider, and then you'll see the changeup 77-85. He really likes to run this fastball away and get you to look away, hard in. That's the way he's going to attack you, and not afraid to throw that hard yellow hammer and put it in the middle of the plate. Particularly, I think, the guys like Dexter Fowler. I think he's one of those guys that will try to attack it and stay down with it.
Now, Dexter's had success against him, 2 for 4 against Kershaw. Clint Barmas 3 for 5, owns a home run. That's upstairs, 2-0. Ryan Spilborghs has 3 hits, including a home run and 5 at bats as well against Clayton Kershaw. George talked about it off the top. The splits with Kershaw, home and road, are staggering. He's been terrific at Dodger Stadium, not so terrific out on the road.
Well, and that's something that they're working through with Rick Honeycutt to get him accustomed to the road, to throwing better on the road. Just what Drew's talking about. Look at that earned run average. That's ridiculous at 727.
This ball smoked, and it's off the glove of Juan Castro. See if he can get the second on this. Wide turn, Kemp able to get to the baseball. For a moment, Jeff Houston, I thought he may have a chance, because when the ball got redirected, Matt Kemp had to reroute.
Right, but just the quick speed of Matt Kemp to be able to come in and close. But jumping on the fastball right over the middle part of the plate. I mean, this ball was scalded, and no wonder Castro couldn't catch it. And this is the closing speed of Matt Kemp. We talk about that in maybe football, but being able to redirect, change directions, and come in and then be able to get the throw right in front of you. That's the reason why Dexter didn't go to second base.
Tim McClellan had to jump out of the way.
That was pretty close to a balk, just the way he went.
Well, it's early. The umpires aren't awake yet. Didn't catch it.
Yeah. Think about all the left-handed starters, Frage. Kuroda's coming back. We haven't seen Randy Wolf in this series. They just line up lefty after lefty.
Yeah, and you know what? And I know, again, the matchups on all of that. A lot of times, look at left-handed big power bats that are in the National League. You don't nullify them, but it makes it a little bit harder on them. You know, guys like Ryan Howard with a big bat on the left-hand side. Guys within the division. Gonzalez over in San Diego,
sure.
That's their big bat. Todd Helton with the Rockies, his big bat. That got a little tricky there, didn't it?
It did. I was just drawing the imaginary 45-degree line between the rubber and then home plate, and he was real close to looking at that and passing over onto the other side of it. And Ted Barrett's just really staring him down now. If he does that again, I wouldn't be surprised he called a balk.
Snap throw by Martin.
If that ball's on the line, Dexter's a dead duck. The ball's high on the throw from Martin behind the plate. So, watch Dexter anticipating the bunt, trying to move him up, and he got too far. But the ball on a very high throw down to first base.
Now, Tulowitzki's behind 0-2. Hard on the ground to third. There's one. There's two.
Well, both balls have been hit extremely hard. That's pretty nice play by Loretta. Yeah, that ball got on him in a hurry at third base.
Well, that's a value that Mark Loretta has for you. He came up as a shortstop. We've seen him at second base, and today he's giving Casey Blake a day off at third base, and he gets the ball. It was hit hard. He made a strong throw over to Orlando Hudson, right on the backside of the bag, so you can protect yourself. The runner slides right into the bag. You don't have to worry about him taking you out and then complete the double play.
By the way, we were talking about those left-handed pitchers earlier, and what Kershaw has done to left-handers, phenomenal. 121 average. Right-handers have only hit 227, but they're 121 average by left-handed bats.
0-2 on Helt.
Well, I tell you what, when he sets back long enough on that back leg and he gets that hand out of the glove and gets it going through the motion and gets a good downward plane, boy, oh boy, it's electric coming out of that hand.
That's a foul ball.
Remember last night with Eric Milton, what he did to Todd, he really changed speeds off of his curveball, kept it away from him, Jeff. And then you look right here in the glove, watch him rotate the ball around as he makes the turn right here. See, he's got changeup grip.
Yep.
Still rotating, and he gets it into that curveball with that middle finger laying across the big seam, so you get a better pull and get a good downward rotation.
George, do you find it when the guy has his hand set up by his face a little bit more that it's easier for him to get his hand out of the glove quicker and up into a throwing position rather than coming set down by his waist?
Yeah, I think so. I really do. I think it helps it get out a little bit quicker when you're. What you want to do is break over the top of the rubber a couple inches in front. What you don't want to do is coast, and some guys get right about there and they compress their hands, Jeff.
Push them down.
They compress against, like, I'm going to throw this thing as hard as I can throw it. And they start compressing. Daniel Slarus has a bad habit of doing this. I think that's why Daniel has trouble at time getting the ball down. But you take and you compress the hands together. And when you do something like that, it pushes down, but you're floating forward, and then it doesn't get out quick at all.
Well, the Rockies got a leadoff knock from Dexter Fowler, but Tulowitzki bounced into a 5-4-3. 1-0 LA. He played at Mark Loretta, who had walked and moved up on a fielder's choice. There's Jeff Francis. Jeff will be joining us in the third inning. It is mic'd up Wednesday, and today we're not actually putting the microphone on anybody. Houston Street, Scotty Garrett flanking him. We're bringing Jeff up in the third inning. He's going to try his hand at color commentary.
No, he's going to do play-by-play too.
He's going to do both. We can go have a cup of coffee then.
We do whatever we want. He can just have fun.
Clint will join us after the fifth inning. Andre Ethier at the plate. He takes inside. It's 1-1 on Ethier. Jimenez trying to steer the Rockies to a victory. They've been hard to come by lately, particularly against the Dodgers. 2-1. Ethier just 4 for 18 against Jimenez. He does own a home run. That's hit late and foul. Got your buddy Huey Larry Boa moving quickly, huh?
Well, he had to. That ball was scorched, but 96 miles an hour. There's a reason why it was late. Bo was ready, though. I mean, if it would have come right at him, he might have even fielded it.
Still got good hands, doesn't he?
Still does.
Foul tip. And
I will tell you this: if he wouldn't have fielded it, he'd have taken it off the chest.
Yeah, he
wasn't scared of the baseball. No, he wasn't scared of the baseball at all.
Fiery. Would that apply with Larry Boa?
Be one adjective.
Yeah.
Among others.
Among others. 2-2 and another foul ball. Larry Boa is from that era of the 170-pound shortstop, Bud Harrelson, Don Kessinger. Don was a little bigger. Left center field. That's a base hit. That'll bring up Matt Kemp. If the Rockies score 7 runs or more during this ball game or any other, go to Taco Bell the following day between 4 and 6 in the afternoon. Feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1. with the purchase of a drink.
Well, Joe, you look at Kemp's numbers against Jimenez. They jump out at you. 6 for 14, a home run, a couple of RBIs, big power on the mound and some power at the plate.
That's a little surprising, only because at times Matt Kemp can get really long with this swing.
And he's not in a particularly good place right now. Kemp yesterday was 0 for 5.
To me, he's a guy you got to work inside with that fastball. You can't let him get his arms extended on it. Boy, nice pick from Phillips.
All in one motion. That's what
Yeah.
you're watching the quickness of a catcher's feet. But yet the ball was down into the dirt. He blocked, picked, and came to his feet like, go ahead.
Yeah, try to take another step off there.
That is the toughest pitch to block, the fastball. You know, in your mind with a slider or a curveball, you're thinking this could be in the dirt. You get the heater at 58 feet in the dirt, much tougher. That is off Jimenez, and nobody's going to have a play. Atkins will just pick it up, toss it back to Ubaldo, and now you have runners at first and second. Nobody out. Scott Garrett, one of the Rockies trainers, will come out. See if Ubaldo's okay. Where do you get this, George?
Right behind, a little below the right knee. So it's going to be his push-off knee, balance knee over the top of the rubber. You're just a little bit concerned about that. You'll throw it. It does, typically, folks, when you get hit in the leg like that, it doesn't tighten up till about 2 hours after a game. And then you really feel it, or when your muscles relax and you sleep through the night and you get up the next morning, you get up and go, man, my legs hurt. Oh, yeah, I got drilled. And you feel it then, more so than you do it during the course of the game.
It was kind of nice in one regard that it was off to the side more, wasn't straight onto the shin bone or right back onto the calf behind it where those could tighten up.
Man, did you see the reliever the other day, Jeff, that got hit with Pittsburgh?
Oh, Caps, wasn't it?
Yep, Caps got hit right in the back of the elbow with a line drive that ricocheted all the way almost over the third base dugout in the air.
Yeah, I've only seen that one other time. Unfortunately, a guy got hit in the head and same thing, and then it went over the dugout into the stands.
Juan Castro at the plate. Juan's gotten to play the last few days as a starting shortstop, replacing Rafael Furcal, and he's done a good job. In fact, Joe Torre said before the ball game today, he said he's going to give Furcal another day. He is available, he said, but it makes it easier the way Castro is swinging the bat.
Yeah, hitting 400, pretty easy to do it.
To help see if they can turn two. There's one. Jimenez got there and he missed the baseball. Now moving up and coming home is Andre Ethier. It's 2-0 LA. Ubaldo did a good job, Huey. You're right on line with that throw at getting there. Did he just whiff on it?
A little bit. He also strode to the ball too quickly, though. Instead of seeing where the ball is, he put his stride foot out there and then had to reach up above his head. He got over there. The throw was a little bit high, but see how he's already stretched out? He was stretched out so far that it wasn't that bad of a throw. He just whiffed on it a little bit and didn't get his glove up high enough.
Did it look like to me, too, he's hunting for the bag a little bit? See where the foot is? It's kind of like the heels on the bag as the ball's coming over. And I know as a pitcher, when I went to first, I used short, choppy steps to get myself in a position when I got over there. I sprinted to get there. Short, choppy, then find the bag with 2 feet and stride to the baseball.
And the other thing is, too, where he was on the outside part of the bag.
Phillips pounces on it, and he's going to get Kershaw at first. So the bunt is down, and Juan Castro in scoring position with 2 outs. Here's how that last play has been scored. No RBI in the fielder's choice for Juan Castro. An error on Troy Tulowitzki's throw, allowing Ethier, who had stopped at third, to come on home.
Pretty tough error on Troy.
I think that's the wrong call. I mean, I'm right on line here. He should have caught the ball. If anything, it's going to be an error, but it should have been an error on a ball, though. I mean, the ball never hit the dirt. It wasn't off line, but about 6 or 7 inches.
This is a huge at bat right now. Why? He said, come on, second inning. We're already down 2-0. And you got a guy that's hitting near 400. He's hitting 394. And it's a little higher than that now after the base hit. Well, excuse me, Pierre grounded out back to the mound. It's 391. My point is, you don't need this run to score.
Well, you've played sloppy already. You had a sloppy first inning from the standpoint a walk and then a Texas leaguer. It's not sloppy, but it's just however you want to describe it. Now in this inning, you have an error. He's been behind in counts. Juan Pierre's as hot as anybody in baseball. You're absolutely right, George. I concur with you. I mean, Kershaw, I know his ERA's high on the road, but he has the kind of stuff. If he gets on a roll,
if it shows up, what do you do?
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
you're not going to get a lot against him.
Well, the other thing too is the way the Dodgers have been able to score runs with 2 outs. I mean, this seems like almost all the runs they've scored a lot yesterday with the double by Casey Blake was with 2 outs. And make a statement here and keep it 2-0.
The thing that's troubling right now to Clint Hurdle and everybody in the organization and the players themselves, too often right now the opposition doesn't have to beat the Rockies. The Rockies are beating themselves.
Exactly. Plays late in games, plays in the middle of the ball game, turning double plays. The things you work on all the way through spring training during the course of the year.
Missing cutoff guys. Clint was talking about that earlier. Swung on, foul tip, held by Phillips. So Jimenez able to strike out Pierre with Castro at second. Another run for the Dodgers. It's 2-0. Is brought to you by E470 and Express Toll, the best way to save time and money. Tomorrow's an off day. Padres in over the weekend. 4-game set in Houston begins on Monday right here on FSN. Clayton Kershaw's first pitch to Matt Merton and an awfully big swing and a miss. Merton leading off for the Rockies will be followed by Spilborghs and Atkins. Fowler had a hit in the first inning. This ball's fouled off. It was erased on a 5-4-3 double play off the bat of Troy Tulowitzki. Merton has a 5-game hitting streak, which right now is the longest on the club. He's hit safely in 5 of his 6 starts. And strike 3. He knew it.
One thing that I think Kershaw's had trouble with at times at Coors Field, Drew, is whenever you throw the curveball, he'll take his middle finger and lay it across this great big seam. When you say, well, why? Because he wants a good 4-seam downward rotation and obviously a longer to grip a hold of it. Where he gets in trouble is when he doesn't stay this way on top of the curveball, but he gets to the side of it and works it here, because what happens then, the ball just floats to the plate versus the hard down bite to it. Today it looks like he's really staying on top of the breaking ball. Take a look at the strikeout pitch to Matt Merton. You'll see here, watch the hand as it comes out of the glove. Everything works good, breaks good, and then he's way up on top of it. Look at that hard down bite rotation on the baseball.
And what allowed that to happen prior to that was the 2 high fastballs that Matt was swung through the first one and fouled off the next one. So you were thinking in your mind, I got to lay off that one, and then he drops it in there.
Here's a 2-0 on Spilborghs. And it's 3-0. Kershaw in 50 innings has walked 28. That's a high number. He has struck out 51, so slightly better than a hitter an inning. That is a very good number. 3-0, and Spilborghs takes a strike. Fastball at 93. Clayton Kershaw is from Highland Park in the Dallas area. It's a very affluent suburb. He went to high school with one Matthew Stafford, who was the first pick in the NFL draft. Bat goes to third. Ball got there first. And Mark Loretta throws out Ryan Spilborghs, 2 gone.
He had to dodge that bat. I mean, once he fielded his baseball, ball gets in on Spilly and breaks his bat. The barrel goes all the way out towards third base. And this is just one of those ones where that little fastball cuts just a little bit, goes towards the label, and then Loretta, once he fielded it and made the throw, he had to hop and get out of the way of the barrel of the bat.
Strike on Garrett Atkins. Garrett in yesterday's ball game was 1 for 4. He has a 4-game hitting streak. Was 7 for his last 61, however. He has 1 extra base hit in May. That came in his final at bat in Detroit on Sunday. Showing signs of emerging from what has been a very difficult stretch. And this ball is poked to right. And Ethier's going to get over and make the catch. So a 1-2-3 second inning for Clayton Kershaw. The Dodgers lead it 2-0 as we go to the third. George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. Mark Stout in the ballpark as well. Ubaldo Jimenez will face Mark Loretta, who he walked in the first inning and paid for it because Loretta came around and scored on a bloop hit with 2 outs by James Loney. And then an unearned run in the second against Jimenez. By the way, they changed that error in the first inning. He was initially given to Troy Tulowitzki on the throw. This ball is right at Barmas. 1 out. And they've changed it and given the error to Ubaldo Jimenez. You know what's really strange this year, guys, is that the Rockies pitching staff, and they have some good fielding pitchers. Aaron Cook and Jason Marquis are probably the best of the bunch. Yet we saw an error from Cook the other day. Marquis had a couple errors. A lot of errors from the guy on the hill.
Yeah, that's amazing by that, too, that happens like that. Because you should be able to make those plays and be able to make it confident and go over and do it because you practice it so often.
Jeff, you were right there. He stretched way too early.
Yeah, he did, and he was also on the outside field or outside part of the bag towards the outfield more than when you're coming as a pitcher, George, and you know this is you got to go right to that middle of the bag because the shortstop not quite sure where he's going to be able to throw the ball to.
Well, you know what I always try to do, Jeff? I really, and I said this a minute ago, you know, in the old days, they tell you to run up parallel with the line and the runner and get to the bag and get position. But as the game progressed and speed became more prominent, sprint to the bag, stop. And what I try to do is take short steps and put both feet by the bag. and then I could stride either way and let the one go to the bag and one to the ball, and vice versa if it was on the other side of things. And the one thing I did is, as a pitcher, I went and talked to Keith Hernandez, who I was fortunate, obviously, to have a Gold Glover playing first base. And I said, just show me, give me a quick lesson about footwork. I don't want an hour-and-a-half thing, but give me some lessons on footwork and what I need to do on something like this. Todd Helton be a pretty good guy to ask, too, I think.
Barmes flips to first to throw out Orlando Hudson. Time for this date in history, brought to you by Dex, May 27th, 1993. After hitting 143 in 26 ball games with the Rockies, former Braves superstar Dale Murphy retires from the game. The two-time National League MVP leaves the game with a career average of .265, just 2 home runs shy of 400, and 1,266 runs batted in. 2 outs, nobody on. James Loney, who hit a bloop single to left, is at the plate. An RBI is 33rd of the year. That leads the ball club. You know what really gets me? James Loney, one of the toughest men in the National League to strike out. He has punched out only 14 times this year.
Well, the thing about it, too, is he's not a small guy. We're down by the cages a lot, Drew, and we walk up next to some of these guys, and you're like, wow, he's really like 6'4" and about 225 or so. He doesn't look that big on TV until you get closer to these guys. I mean, most of the time, guys that are that big are going to strike out 75 to 100 times.
Well, he's nowhere near on that kind of pace. 1-2 on Loney. 2 outs, nobody on. Dodgers up 2-0. That pitch got away, so it's 2-2. George, it looks like Ubaldo's still trying to hunt a release point.
Well, a lot of times you do that, Drew. If you're not getting your breaking ball over, your changeup over, you try to find it. And really the important time of that is when you're doing your 8 warm-up pitches, to try to find that release point, that comfort zone of what you're trying to do with the baseball.
That he found. That's a gorgeous slider. And he punches out. Loney, I tell you, Loney punches out all the time. Left and right.
You know what? That was one of those grab some pine meat. That was a good song.
Yeah, he locked him up. Good inning for Jimenez. 2-0 Dodgers. When we come back, Jeff Francis will join us. Dodgers leading the Rockies 2-0. Drew Goodman, George Frazier. Downstairs is Jeff Houston and Mark Stout. And upstairs out of the dugout, keeping warm with his hoodie on, his New England Patriot hoodie. No, it's a Rockies hoodie. Is Jeff Francis.
Hoodie. It's a sweatshirt. It's a hoodie to our kids. It's a sweatshirt to Jeff.
Well, I'm just trying to be up to speed. Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Question number one, naturally. We get to ask you this on a semi-regular basis, but folks want to know, how you feeling? How's the rehab going?
It's actually going really well. You know, the Scotty Murayama, the rehab coordinator who, you know, I work with every day, here, you know, even when the team's on the road, says, you know, it couldn't be going any better. So that's really encouraging for me. And hopefully I can start throwing a baseball in about 3 weeks. You know, I'm 13 weeks removed today from surgery, so I think that's a good thing.
Well, I think, too, is not to get in a big hurry. You're not going to come out in September anyway and try to throw here at the major league level. Let it get 100% healed and come back and be 100% of the Jet Francis.
Right. And that's, I mean, a lot of the guys you see who have gone through this before, that's what they say is don't rush it back. And, you know, if there was a possibility of me pitching this year, then yeah, maybe, but I don't think that's.
Have you talked to anybody else that had the surgery? Other than a Rocky?
Randy Flores had it.
Yeah. Randy came back pretty quick, though. He had his like in September, didn't he?
He did.
At the end of the season, I mean, he came back pretty quick.
Spring training, I guess he was getting close. And obviously now he's 100%.
Paul Phillips at the plate, 5 straight out of the strike zone by Clayton Kershaw. Barmas at first. Rockies trying to counterpunch here, down 2-0 to the Dodgers. When you do talk to some guys like a Flores, the fact that Randy has come back, I mean, it is a process. Now it's 6 straight. Are your spirits buoyed knowing that, you know what, okay, as dark as it may have seemed a few months ago, I know that there's going to be brighter days. I know I'm going to be able to do what I used to do.
Oh, for sure. And the surgery itself was almost a relief for me. I mean, the MRIs I had showed nothing. And, you know, I knew I was feeling pain. And I think coming out of surgery, actually hearing that they found a tear and they were able to repair it was almost a relief for me, knowing that, you know, hopefully it's over with. Hopefully it's fixed and I can get back on the mound and be the pitcher that I know I am.
Is it frustrating as an athlete to see your club struggle and not be able to do anything about it?
Oh, sure. Definitely. I mean, I've been through this with these guys. I mean, we've been through it the last, you know, 3 years. And there's always times when you show up to the ballpark and you try everything you can to get up for the game. And, you know, it's not always easy, but, you know, we got the guys in there who can do it. And, you know, we come in here every day, no matter what happened the day before, expecting to win. And, you know, there's no question that that's the attitude here today as well.
Kershaw all of a sudden can't find the plate. That's 7 straight now out of the zone. I'm just guessing here, Huey. I think he's going to take this pitch.
Boy, Drew, you're smart.
Right on.
Right on cue.
Yeah. Phillips walks it. Joe Torre has the look of, oh my goodness. I saw this on Monday.
You know,
Aaron
look, he has
Stoltz and the rest of the Dodger staff walked 11.
I think he has that look, and also last night when the young lefty came in and he did the inside move with a 7-run lead or 6-run lead and tried to pick a guy off second with a 6-run lead versus worrying about throwing a strike. And Joe just kind of hung his head like, okay, let's get an out here.
So now Baldo at the plate, and he'll try to move the runners up. He got the butt down hard. Kershaw, I thought, was going to try to get the force at third. Glad he didn't. So a successful sacrifice for Ubaldo Jimenez. Now if you punch a single out there, the Rockies can tie this thing up. Firestone leaderboard, league leaders in the National League in ERA in the month of May. Jake Peavy and the Padres have played so well. Wandy Rodriguez, who the Rockies saw earlier. Johan Santana, he's up there every month. Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers, and Ubaldo Jimenez of the Rockies.
Well, an interesting stat thrown out about Kershaw: 7 balls thrown in the first 2 innings total, and then 8 here in the 3rd inning.
Fowler has the only hit for the Rockies. It was on a heater. He scorched it to center field. And he gets a breaking ball to begin. It's 0-1.
You know, Jeff, it worked for me sometimes, and I don't know if it did for you or not, but whenever I couldn't get the fastball over, I sometimes had the tendency to want to try harder, throw harder, lose command of my delivery, lose command of my arm slot. And with a veteran catcher, a lot of times he would call a curveball or a slider to slow everything down a little bit, because you knew in your mind as a pitcher, I got to get on top of it. Similar for you?
I mean, for me, not as much. I think a guy who throws the ball hard, who, you know, throwing the ball hard is your strength. I think when you're struggling, you probably try to throw the ball a lot harder because you know that's what you do best. And but yeah, you're right. Sometimes you throw a curveball, it makes everything slow down, and you kind of realize what your body needs to do to get the ball back to where you want it to be.
Let me ask you this, along the same vein. with hitters, when they're not going well, sometimes hitting coaches will say, let's just simplify it. See it and hit it. See it and hit it, and forget the mechanics. Do you ever feel that way when you, on the occasion you're struggling to throw strikes? Forget all the mechanical things. Forget when I'm breaking my hands and this and that. Just, you know what, go out and throw the ball.
Yeah, it's easy to do, to worry about, you know, how you're throwing the ball, how you're delivering the ball, but, you know, we're all pretty good at what we do. Our body knows how to throw the ball. It's just sometimes it's a mental issue of, you know, like you said, like a hitter going, seeing the ball and hitting the balls. I mean, your body knows how to throw the ball. So
I always found when you're going good, everybody's had a baby patting you on the back, and when you're going bad, you got 700 voices telling you what you're doing wrong. They're the same guys that were just patting you on the back, and all they were saying that they had a baby. Now all of a sudden, well, you know, you do this, do that, do this. Start listening a little bit more when you're struggling, and obviously when you're going good.
Upstairs on Dexter, it's 2-2. What's impressed you the most, Jeff, about Dexter watching him play?
I think it's the energy he brings to the top of the lineup. I mean, I've seen a few games already this year where he swung at the first pitch of the game and, you know, hit a homer or hit a double and got on base. And, you know, that's exactly what you want out of a leadoff hitter, you know.
I'll tell you, I'll add something from up here to what you said. I couldn't agree with you more. The other thing is, he really is calm at the plate. I mean, you know, he was behind in the count. Now he's worked it full. He doesn't get jittery. He really has an approach. He has a confidence to his game. 3-2, and he waited and waited, Jeff Houston, didn't he?
Emergency hack. We've seen that a few times in this homestand already, but that one was, he was able to wait back just long enough, because we could see from the Hyundai cam that big over-the-top 12-6 curveball comes out of the hand looking like a fastball. You're saying that ball is up, it's up, it drops in there. You still have the bat speed and the hand-eye coordination just to foul it off.
Oh, that's a ball. That is
Take
a
him any way you
ball.
can get him.
And here come the Rockies with their first run.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Clint Barmes will come home. Phillips will go to third.
Whoopsie.
Hey, when you're struggling, you'll take them even if you're going well, you'll take them this way.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't see this very often at the big league level, where a guy starts, and I don't know if he's spy cooked or what happened to him or whatever it was. He just shut it down.
You have any idea, Jeff?
No, I thought maybe his foot got caught in the dirt on the replay.
We'll see how the youngster reacts now.
So Phillips at third. Infield comes halfway. And here's the 3-2. Ball 4. Fowler goes to first. Tulowitzki to the plate. And now some more offensive options, Jeff, for the Rockies. With Dexter at first base, first and third.
Well, and the other thing, too, Dexter's already seen Dexter Fowler and how his move is over towards first base. So now he's going to have the ability to go out there and read it, see when his feet are real close together. How does he come over to first? What is his move? He's already had the ability to see some and be out there. So now he can read it, engage it. If he feels like he can go, take off.
3 walks in the inning by Kershaw. And he misses to Tulowitzki, ball 1.
The other thing Kershaw does, too, I talked about his feet coming together. You can see him before he starts to go home. He starts to already drift towards the plate.
There goes Fowler. This is high. The throw to second is in time by Russell Martin.
You talk about an exchange at the plate by Russell Martin. It was quick.
Well, it had to be.
You get your stopwatch, do it on a replay, just catch it, just run it all the way through for us, guys, and watch this thing here. Curveball high. Boy, you talk about a quick exchange and a very accurate throw in.
Yeah, 194, George. I mean, because it had to be, because Dexter, to me, got a great jump on this, because I was watching, and just like I said, you could see Kershaw start to drift a little bit towards the plate.
Well, he's thrown out 35, a little over 35% of would-be base stealers. Here's that look again. Hit the clock. Here he'd sort of come up with. He had 194 on the first
194, 192 on that one. So let's go ahead and split it. 193. That's pretty quick, because you think of the major league average is too flat. But he also had a nice area when the ball was up to make that exchange.
And a pop-up right side. Loney and Hudson. Hudson calls him off. The Rockies get a run. 3 walks in the inning. No hits. A balk brought Barmes to the plate. It's 2-1. KSN is brought to you by your Colorado Hyundai dealers, and this May's only Hyundai Can Say sales event. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Dex, take the sport out of finding local information with Dex and print online at dexknows.com. And by Burt Toyota, where the Tacoma is under $24,000. 2-1 LA. And the first pitch from Ubaldo Jimenez in the top of the 4th inning is a strike to Russell Martin, who helped get the Dodgers to the dugout maybe a little quicker than they would have with a great throw cutting down Dexter Fowler. And the slider at the knees for a strike. It's 0-2. Martin hit a ground ball to second his first time up. Russell was 3 for 6 in the ball game Monday.
Jeff, there is one thing that anytime you have a guest in the booth, they have to do one thing. You want your choice? We have 5 to read. They're called Rockies reads. Or you want to? You just want to? No. You can read it if you want to. You don't have to. You don't have to.
That's the old turf throw.
Yeah.
You used to do that, George, when you broke in with the Cardinals, right?
Well, there wasn't any grass. That's how we played at all the football ballparks.
Bounce it over there.
Yeah, on the cement. Yeah, you could throw it about the pitcher's mound. Just hope it didn't end up in the seats a little bit. And again, this is one of those quick exchanges you've got to get rid of. So the grip of the baseball, Huey's not always going to be what you want.
Change up. That's what he had when he goes to get it. And a lot of times you'll see him throw sidearm maybe on that one, but he came over the top. And when you get a changeup, you end up just burying it into the ground. Fortunate it was far enough away from Helton that he could read it and pick it easily.
Andre Ethier takes ball 1. Was Jeff going to do the read, George, or what's the deal?
No, I told him he had a choice or he didn't have to or whatever, and he just kind of shook his head no. So I took that as he had 1 of 5. He didn't want to do it.
I think George can do his job.
Wow.
Well, see, when you come in here, I mean, come on.
There's some.
You got to have a little fun up here in the yard, You got to see if you can read or not. You going to do it or not?
Yeah, I'm out of my element here, George.
No, you're not. You got your uni on. You just got earmuffs on.
I'm supposed to be in the dugout. I'm not supposed to be up here.
You got earmuffs on. You think it's Canada? Oh, it's got a microphone with it.
By the way,
sorry.
If you move your feet, you're not going to spike us, are you? Or you got the turf shoes on?
No, I don't wear spikes.
I don't think he wore spikes upstairs.
So. Well, Bobby Cox manages. He still wears spikes.
Well, yeah. Jimmy Leland never takes them off either.
Yeah.
Nails, as he likes to call it. Got my nails on today.
There's a base hit for Ethier.
Well, Wells Fargo customers, if that's you, Jeff, you can do this. You can enjoy Rockies baseball in style with a special offer from Wells Fargo. 2 for-1 club level seats. Visit wellsfargo.com/Rockies for all the details to find out now. See, that was easy. You could have done that.
I couldn't do that any better.
Well, the truck just said you could do a whole lot better than what I just did. So knock yourself out on the next one.
Matt Kemp at the plate with 1 out.
You don't get the pick. Oh, here's a good one for him.
Actually, let him do. What do we got coming up here?
There you
on
go.
the promo side?
Is this a novelty act or what?
Oh, we do this all the time to guys that come in here.
Mid billboards. Look that one over.
You don't want to do those, Jeff.
Closing. Want to do the copyright? Let's have Jeff do the copyright. Can we have that, Mike? That's a good idea. Jeff, you got to do this.
Pretty excited you came up here.
The game's not legal otherwise.
This was a bad idea from the start.
Here we go. We'll tell you when. Don't read it yet. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mike will tell you in your ear. Don't answer him though, because then it goes out. You understand that. Fox, are you all set? Oh, after the batter, Mike has told us. Jeff's now rehearsing. 2 balls and a strike on Kemp. Infield hit, his first time up. 2-1 LA. And that's a base hit. James Loney will stop at second. Dexter quickly fires it in to cutoff man Troy Tulowitzki. Bob Apodaca is going to go to the mound. Juan Castro coming up, and we have to make this game legal. Jeff?
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies.
Outstanding.
Nice.
You know what? That UBC degree.
I learned to read a long time ago.
Well, Frazier's a couple seasons ago for him.
I bet you're, at your household, I guarantee you, you were probably reading before you were walking.
Do you guys, because you guys like to have breakfast on the road, you would both get up early. Do you ever throw a physics question at Fraze to see how it?
He calls me in the winter.
What was it?
Your daughter doing her science homework?
What was it? I can't remember now. Something rotation. I can't remember what it was.
Angular velocity. Angular momentum.
It was something. And I'm going to Jeff. I said to him, Jeff, do you know what this is? And he goes, oh yeah. And he listed about 25 things, like right off the top of his head, like he's reading it out of a book. I said, why can't you be the tutor? Why do I have to be the guy?
I'm going to be in trouble pretty soon. You know what? The Rockies clubhouse can cover you a little bit. You can go to Ionetta for math. He's a math major at North Carolina. Got a science issue you call Francis. Who else got things covered down there? MURTON's a smart guy. Went to Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Daly's a smart guy.
Daly went to Bucknell. Bright kid.
Then there's all the rednecks who can tell you how to kill an animal.
Right, they can
Hey.
Comebacker, there's one. And there's two. Well done by Tulowitzki. All right. Juan Castro grabs into a 1-6-3 double play. 2-1 LA. Back in a moment.
Field bottom of the fourth. Dodgers lead it 2-1. Time for your Aflac trivia question of the game. I've been perusing my All-Star Game ballot, and the question has to do about the All-Star Game. Can you name the only Dodger that was a write-in to start? The only Dodger that was a write-in candidate and started an All-Star Game. Think about that. The answer is coming up. Let's go back up to the booth, guys.
I hope this one is a positive. Since I don't want to have to call you Mr. Sunshine 2 days in a row, Mark.
I've been looking at my ballot here, and I voted for all Rockies. It's a positive day out here in the sunshine.
I won't embarrass you and tell Francis your opening hit yesterday.
Don't tell him that stat.
I won't tell him. I'll tell him off the air. It's going to cost you, though, for me to remain silent. 1-1 strike on Todd Helton against Clayton Kershaw, and he stayed off that pitch. It's 2-1. You getting all the chores done at home?
As much as I can, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you ever run out,
a lot more time at home these days than
if you run out, I've got a list I haven't.
Hey, Drew, speaking of that,
yes,
I talked to Mark Razum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
what's it look like? What's it look like?
He said $200 wouldn't do it, but he said what would do it though is tickets to Game 6 of the Nuggets Lakers. So you know,
is that he said?
Your choice.
You know what? Hanslick's coming by later. I'm going to see what we can do.
Well, I'm just telling you what Raz wants for mowing the back 40.
Can I get the if I get that? Will he cut a diamond for me?
You know what? I can't broker every single deal. That's up to you.
You got to negotiate for me. Here's the 3-2 on top, and it's fouled off.
Jeff, what does it mean? I mean, for me, I've watched Todd since I came here in '98. Todd basically full time in '98. to see what he went through the last year and a half and to do what he's doing now, it's really rewarding for me to watch it.
It's really impressive. You know, I came up in 2004. You know, I think he hit, what, 340 with 30 or something that year. And I think ever since then, you know, 05, 06, 07, that the years haven't been what he expects or what everybody expects from him. And just to see what he's doing now, and it's a pleasure to watch.
Jeff, do you ever talk to your own guys, your own offensive players, position players, and ask them about swing patterns and that sort of thing? This is line foul down the left field line again, to try to help you at your craft?
Yeah, I mean, you always have conversations, you know, but it comes down to when you're pitching, you pitch to your strengths. I mean, regardless of what a guy does or a scouting report, you know, pitch him in, pitch him up, pitch him down, whatever. You know, I have strengths that I go to when I'm on the mound that, you know, in a pinch or in an even count that, you know, I'm going to regardless.
You know, George talks about that all the time, and it's a great point. He always says, you know, a pitching coach can come out and say, hey, listen, this guy really, you spin it. He doesn't, he's a dead red guy. He's not good on anything spinning up there. But if that's not your strength, this is playable on the left side. Mark Loretta grabs it, 1 out. But if that's not to your strength, you may not be able to buy into that. Is that fair?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, if a guy doesn't hit sliders very well, what can I do? I don't throw sliders. So,
well, great.
You know, I go with my best. I go with my fastballs, sinkers down and away, and, you know, keep them a little uncomfortable, pitching inside, and, you know, I'm going to get most of my outs away. That's just how I pitch, and how probably most people pitch around
I
here.
laughed. One of the first pitchers meetings I was in St. Louis with Pete Vukovich, who was my first roommate in the big leagues. And now you know part of the reason what's wrong with me. But Pete sat there, and in the reports it said they had a difficult time with Phil Niekro's knuckleball. And Pete goes, great. So am I supposed to work on this today before I go to the mound? I don't throw a knuckleball. What idiot wrote in this report that throw knuckleballs, and we have no knuckleballers anywhere? And what it amounted to, and Pete was one of the best at this, he took the whole big stack of everything. And folks, it's a big book on everybody they give you. And he took lighter fluid and he poured it all over and he lit it on fire. All the coaches are panicking. And he goes, high and tight, low and away. Let's have fun, boys. And walked off, and that was the end of his meeting. Point of case is, I'm going to pitch the way I'm going to pitch to these hitters. It doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to get them out, but I believe I can get them out with my pattern of what I want to do versus of what some report tells me to do. And reports are helpful, don't get me wrong, because it'll tell you a lot of times the last 3 days maybe what a guy is struggling with, and you can go to that a little bit.
Now you have a written scouting report that you go over in meetings prior to when you pitch. How important is video to you? I mean, Curt Schilling became really famous. I don't know, he promoted it himself, but how much video he watched. How about Jeff Francis?
It's different for every player. For me, it's not the most important thing, although I do watch it, you know, almost just for the visual of what a hitter's going to look like up at the plate if I've never seen him before. A lot of times you get a lot of info just off a stat sheet. You know, if a guy, you know, has a high strikeout total, you know, low walks, it means he's probably going to be swinging right out of the gate. Or if it's the other way around, then he's probably going to be pretty patient. You can get ahead of him with a good pitch. And, you know, a lot of information can be gotten from a lot of different places. So video is important, but, you know, it's not everything.
One of the guys I always spent time with an awful lot, and it started for me with Red Shandies in St. Louis, in the Hall of Fame, obviously, and then over to the Yankees and Charlie Lyle, other guys, the hitting coach. I'd go talk to the hitting coach. And if he knew my stuff, and he would always say to me, I'm going to get to that one, Merton, another base hit up the middle.
Merton runs well. See if he tries for 2. He will. Here's Kemp's throw. Matt's in there easily. A leg double for Matt Merton with 1 out in front of Ryan Spilborghs. That's one of the things, Jeff Francis, that caught our eye very early in spring training. For a big, strong guy, he runs well.
Well, not having been at spring training, I guess.
Well, I'm telling you, he runs really well. You're getting too comfortable. Frazier, he runs really well. Houston, he runs well.
Well, he does, because think about this, too. How many balls did he foul off over into the right side in the stand? So as a right fielder, I'm thinking I got to cheat more towards the line. And when that ball goes into the right center field gap, and he does run well, Drew, I'll agree with you. It's a no-brainer for him to be able to go to second base.
Francis wasn't at spring training.
That's all right.
Well, he got sent home early.
Yeah.
So it wasn't by his choice, trust me. He wish he'd have been healthy throwing, yeah.
0-1 on Spilborghs, and that's low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rockies an opportunity to tie it up here, trailing 2-1, bottom half of inning number 4. They've been out hit 5-2 in the game. That's a good curveball, and it's 1-2. Will you travel later on in the year, do you think? Or has that not been plotted out?
It hasn't been plotted out, but I would think it'll, once I get thrown off a mound, I can, do some work with, Dak and Jim Wright out there in the bullpen and actually get some work done. So I think that'll happen. I don't know when, but, eventually.
Is Allie counting the days till that occurs?
Probably, yeah.
This ball's hit a ton left center field. Way back and here. Ryan Spilborghs has given the Rockies a 1-run lead. His 4th of the year. 2 have come against Clayton Kershaw. Boy, Jeff Houston, did he ever sit on this?
Well, he did. He had fouled off the breaking pitch, so he was on that one, and this time he got the timing down with that little leg kick that he goes back and then the drive through. And you knew it was in the back of Clayton Kershaw's mind after Ryan had taken him deep the first time they faced each other.
Yeah, Spilborghs swung it back pretty well. Oh, man, just compounded by not catching the baseball. A little frustration after the home run to fire by his first baseman. We'll speed this up a little bit more. And the wheel's starting to come off a little bit. Mention this about Spilborghs. 3 for 5 coming into this ball game against Kershaw. The other side of that ball was up in the zone. Torrey's out. Conte's out to check on his young pitcher. Look at this again. Kind of a one hop. Tried to barehand the baseball. Woo. Not ever a really smart thing to do. And then the wild throw to first base. Atkins stays put. Kershaw feeling a little bit of that disappointment now of what's happened in this ball game, reminiscent of his start at Colorado back on April the 26th. We showed you that in the open.
You know what? I'm looking at that replay, and he could have gotten hurt 3 different ways. The hand, obviously, the knee when he twisted, and maybe the hammy when he fumbled to pick it up the first time.
Let's just put it this way. Fortunate for him, he's 21 years old, because the older guy, you're right, he could have gone on the DL for 3 separate things.
He looked like Gumby on that play.
Well, it's all about reaction, too. Ball hit back up the middle. You're going to do what you can to stop it. The competitive nature of a pitcher.
Yes, I always fall back on that, Jeff. You've been in that situation. Everybody says, oh, pitcher, don't grab with your hand. Your instinct takes over, right?
Yeah, you don't want the ball to go into center field. So you probably stop it with your face. If
you're competing. So Garrett Atkins aboard on an infield hit. 3 straight knocks for the Rockies. They have a 3-2 lead. And Clint Barmas, who walked and scored last inning, is at the plate. Last home run for Spilborghs, May 2nd at AT&T Park against the Giants. Now, we were saying yesterday, Jeff, that I should say Jeff Houston, that Spilly was due, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was only a matter of time for him, because you think about his swing, there's not a lot of extra moving parts to it. So other than what he does to get his trigger mechanism going, so for him to go that long without a home run just seemed really unusual.
1 ball and 1 strike on Barmas. George, you got another read?
No, I don't. I'm just looking at him, messing around with him. Wait to see if the Rockies can add on to this 1-run lead right now.
One and two.
Went back and got a little extra there. Put it in a pretty good spot, up and away out of the zone a little bit with some late tail to it.
Strike 3 on the outside corner. So that is out number 2. Let's get our Affleck trivia question answered with Mark Stout. Mark?
All right, Drew, the question was which Dodger was a write-in candidate and started. We were all alive when this happened except for Francis. He wasn't. 1974, Steve Garvey started at first base in Pittsburgh. Ended up being the MVP of that All-Star game. He was 2 for 4 with a run-scoring double. Ron Say of the Dodgers started at third. You mentioned Larry Bowa earlier. He was the shortstop for the NL, as this is laced to right. Started at short for the Phillies, and that'll do it for the inning. So well, Steve Garvey was the answer.
First of all, just so you understand something, Mark, I want you to know in 1974, Jeff Francis probably wasn't even born yet, so he didn't have a chance to write about it.
He acknowledged that. Jeff, do you want to stay the whole game, or you want to go back to your teammates in the dugout? I thought so.
Jeff, thanks for coming by. Great to see you as always.
Yeah. Jeff, continued success with your rehab. Thank you, Simon. You bet. Jeff Francis, good enough to join us. We'll come back 3-2 Colorado. It's a 2-run home run. Clayton Kershaw will lead off for the Dodgers in the top of the 5th inning. Time for our Geico quote of the day. Vin Scully: never was a sport more ideally suited to television. And then they interrupt the great quote. Here it is again. Then baseball. It's theater, really. The stars, the spotlight on the mound, the supporting cast fanned out around them. And it continues the mathematical precision of the game, moving with the kind of inevitability of a Greek tragedy, with the Greek chorus in the bleachers. That sounds like something you'd say, Fraish.
Uh-huh.
What's the matter, Jeff?
Nothing. I should have hit my cough button there.
Something caught in your throat?
Yeah.
The great Vince Scully. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Kershaw. Rockies up a run in the 5th, trying to defeat the Dodgers for just the 2nd time this year. See you later. 96 miles an hour. Our thanks again to Jeff Francis for joining us upstairs. Yeah, it's kind of funny, George. You know, initially, Jeff, who could be somewhat shy, was reserved, and then all of a sudden, you know, the personality came out, huh?
Well, he is. I mean, he's a guy that I like talking to. As you know, we spent a lot of time together at those early morning diners sometimes out on the road, and to visit about a lot of things other than just baseball.
Ball 1 on Juan Pierre. Juan a comebacker and a strikeout, a rare strikeout for Pierre. One of the toughest guys in the game to strike out.
Well, George, I think that's the one thing about any sort of sport or baseball players, that the way that you know, a lot of times people, when you're together with them, they think, oh, that's all we're talking about is just baseball, baseball, baseball. But there's many other interests that that these guys talk about besides baseball.
Well, and I think too, what you know, I realized a long time ago, when I walk away from the ballpark, I try to forget about it and go home and relax and enjoy my family as a player, and then now as a broadcaster to leave it behind. And then, because if you don't leave it behind.
This ball's hit well to right field. Spilbords is going to have to play it off the wall. It's going to be a double for Pierre. And the only reason that's a double, Jeff, is that typical of Juan, he was running from the get-go because Spilly did a really nice job getting that ball off the wall.
He did, and this is the way Juan Pierre is. And what we've seen from Juan is him, the ability to jump on some pitches. He had the triple in the left center field gap, right center field gap, and now you think, okay, we can get him out in. We can get him out in, and he just opens that front side, moves that hip out of the way, and then pulls the hands through. Off the wall, Spilly gets it, just a really short hop, one hop, and gets rid of the baseball. And it's not even close at second base just because of the way Juan Pierre is. It's not the way Ryan Spilborgh's played the ball. That was beautiful. Just Pierre running hard out of the box.
Line drive, double play. Loretta right back at Jimenez, and Ubaldo waited for Clint Barnes to get to the bag, and Juan Pierre gets doubled off second. To the dugout we go. The Rockies with a 3-2 lead as we move on to the bottom of the fifth. To 2, Clayton Kershaw will see Ubaldo Jimenez in the top of the order. Time for today's Quest high-speed pitch. Kershaw's hit 96. Ubaldo's hit 99. Two of the great young talents in the game. Ubaldo's 25. Kershaw's just 21. That's brought to you by Quest high-speed internet. And this ball's on the ground to second.
Well, with the ground ball over to second, it'll give me a chance to tell the Rockies fans at home about the Rock-Ends Conference Center at Coors Field. It accommodates groups of 50 to 200 for a half a day and all day for your meetings. It's a great place that you can book on non-game days or for the ultimate experience. Book one and watch a Rockies game in the Rock-Ends. 303-312-2424.
Well, with one out, Dexter Fowler is 1 for 1 and a walk will step up. He's leading National League rookies in a number of categories. If there was a category called exciting player, he'd be at the top of that list. He leads in runs, hits, total bases, doubles, triples, stolen bases, extra base hits, multi-hit games. He's number 1 among all National League rookies. We're almost 2 months into this thing. And the thing I like about it, guys, is he just keeps getting better. Here's the 1-1 to Fowler. 1 and 2.
Well, he made the adjustments. We talk about making adjustments all the time at this level. Some teams had made the adjustment to him, and he had to go reinvent some of the things he was doing, and he did that.
Not this time. Kershaw wins this battle. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Tulowitzki, who's 0 for 2. Third strikeout of the ball game for Kershaw. Troy grounded into a 5-4-3 double play and popped to second. Here's the 1-1 to Troy. Rockies just 7 and 12 at home so far this year, which is very uncharacteristic, even in years where they have not fared well. They've always played well at Coors Field. That's still early. No swing. Check it out with Ted Barrett at first. Tulowitzki trying to reach for Todd Helton. Rockies up a run, courtesy of a 2-run home run last inning from Ryan Spilborghs, and he belted it to one of the deepest portions of this ballpark.
Yeah, typically a lot of his power's in right center too, on balls away from him. That's where he's shown power throughout his career. That ball was a little bit up, a little bit in the middle. Man, he turned on it, said goodbye in a hurry.
Scott Barry rings up Troy Tulowitzki. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Kershaw. To the 6th we go. Clint is kind enough to join us. That was great to see Ryan Spilborghs spin on one and drive one out of the ballpark. He was due.
He was due, and you know, he's had a little history with this guy. I just tried dropping him one spot back just to get some people on base in front of him. Sometimes it works. But it's a shot we needed. We need to continue to build some momentum here and keep shutting him down off the mound.
Yeah, it looks like Ubaldo's getting a little stronger.
He is. You know, we just got to maintain it. The first couple innings, just a lot of pitches, you know, establishing his command. But since the 3rd inning on so far now, he's on a nice roll.
Hey, Clint, thanks as always. Good luck
You're
the rest
welcome.
of the way.
Thank you.
All right. Clint Hurdle in the Rockies dugout. Colorado ahead 3-2. Orlando Hudson in the 6th inning, batting out of the 3-hole this afternoon. And then James Loney and Russell Martin. This is one of those innings where you say, all right, 3rd time through, middle of a Dodger order that has been terrific this year, even in the absence of Manny Ramirez. That's a pretty good slider there. He changed the pattern, didn't he, Huey?
Well, he did, and that's what he needs to do. As you mentioned, 3rd time through the lineup, you can't just sit there and go the same pattern, whether it be fastball, slider, or whatever it is. That time he went back to the slider again, and then you can do a lot of different things from that area. And that's the nice thing about having a guy with some experience. Although Ubaldo's still young, he does have the experience of facing these guys a number of times. He understands that too.
I'll still go back to the first time Orlando Hudson saw Ubaldo Jimenez in 07. It was a 3-pitch at bat, and he went straight to the dugout, and he had a smile on his face as if to say, you got to be kidding me. Well, kind of like that. Yeah, he got a hustle, and nobody fielded it.
Well, a little confusion there. I don't know if Troy thought that Addy was going to cut it off in front of him or what, but they both kind of avoided the baseball.
An infield hit for Hudson. He's now hit in 17 straight. That continues a career-best hitting streak.
Well, you remember, too, back early in this ball game, same type of situation, a broken bat. See, as they both came to get to the baseball and converged on it, nobody was saying anything, I don't think, Huey, to say, I got it or you take it or whatever.
No, and a lot of times the third baseman will go over there and try to cut off in front of the shortstop, but the spin on the baseball caused it to kick back a little bit, because originally I was like, okay, that's going to be Troy's ball, but then when it kicked back towards Garrett a little bit more, that's when he thought he had to go after. But you got to have the communication. Somebody's got to try to get that and make the throw. I think Troy, the only option he had was going to have to be barehanded.
Well, and again, he made that play on him. Remember, he charged the ball on Hudson, was able to throw him out just barely.
You know what? I don't know if it mattered.
No, I agree.
I really think even if he comes up clean on the bare hand, I don't think he's going to get him.
No, especially hitting from the left side, half step closer to third base. So I'm with you, Drew. Even if either one of those guys gets it, they're not going to be able to throw him out.
Here's the 1-0 on James Loney, and another check of Orlando Hudson at first. Loney's put up ridiculous numbers in this ballpark and overall against the Rockies. Now played 48 games against Colorado, 348 average, 7 home runs, 44 RBIs. He's hitting 371 here. That's a strike.
Somebody asked Joe Torre yesterday about that with James Loney, saying, you know, this guy just has unbelievable numbers here at Coors Field. Somebody asked Joe Torre, where was your ballpark that you had ridiculous numbers? He said Wrigley Field. He goes, I just loved it there. They asked him, well, how about as a manager? He goes, I hate it there.
Well, he's getting ready to spend 4 days there.
I know.
This is a double play ball. There's one. There's two. That helps. 2 gone. Russell Martin coming up with nobody on base, and the Rockies ahead 3-2. To embellish your story, Jeff Houston, here's Mark Stout.
I got a chance to ask that question to Joe Torre, and before I could get it out and say, James Loney said, yeah, we call him Mile High as a joke because that's his disposition and because he hits so well here. And he compared him to Bernie Williams. He said his disposition is like Bernie Williams. And then when I asked Joe, where did he hit well? And as Huey said, Wrigley Field, I looked up his numbers. He had 358 there, had 20 home runs, 80 RBIs, and just said he loved hitting at Wrigley Field in day games. As soon as he stepped on the field, he knew he was going to have a good day at the plate. And that's his highest batting average, Joe Torre's, during his career at any park, guys.
A lot of guys have hit well at Wrigley Field through the years. You got gap power. Gap power's home run power at Wrigley.
Early on in April and May, and again in September, it's a pitcher's ballpark. But as soon as it flips, it's like when school's let out, it's time for souvenirs. The wind starts to blow out every single day. It becomes a huge hitter's ballpark. And the hitter's eye has gotten much better than what it used to be with when they put in the bushes and the tarps out in center field.
Yeah, it used to be some of those out there, you'd see the ball trying to come out of a white shirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nothing like the hitter's eye here at Coors Field.
0-2 on Martin. He didn't offer at it. It's 1-2. Two and two. And this is fouled off. The Dodgers are 17 games over 500. They have the best record in baseball. The last time there were this many games over 500, you have to go all the way back to the end of the 04 season. Jim Tracy was their skipper, and they finished 93 and 69 and winning the National League West. They won the NL West last year in Torrey's first year. Caught the Arizona Diamondbacks. Here's the 2-2, 3-2.
A couple reasons, Drew, what they've been able to do at home, 18-5, and that 13-14 game winning streak to start the season at home, and then also what they've done against the West, 22-8. They jumped out on people.
Yeah, they've been consistent in every way.
Yeah.
Strike 3 on a hook. Paul Phillips caught it and was already running to the dugout before Scott Barry could pump his right arm. Beautiful pitch for strikeout number 4 for Jimenez. Jimenez and the Rockies leading 3-2. Welcome back to the 6th inning. Time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. Well, when you have great stuff like a Kershaw or a Jimenez, you're going to break some bats. And a lot of guys have splinters in their hands. Well, back live, first pitch of the inning. Todd Helton line, but it was right at Mark Loretta. And Loretta makes the catch, 1 out.
Interesting note about the Dodgers as we'll look at this pitch one more time from Todd Helton. It's going to be a very quick fastball, the outer half, up a little bit, allowed Todd to swing. Velocity's late, but great position defensively right at Loretta at third base. This is an interesting statistic here on the Dodgers. When leading after 6, they're 27-3. Testament to their great bullpen, right? When they're not leading, a record of 2-9. So hopefully that will hold true to the 2-9, make it 2-10.
You know what I take away from those numbers? 27 times they have led going to the latter third of the game. Only 9 times they've trailed. So they've gotten busy early.
Well, the starting pitching was pretty good.
Matt Merton behind 0-2. Spilborg's on deck. Merton doubled his last time up. He's got a 6-game hitting streak going. Spilborg's a 2-run home run in his last at bat. That's why the Rockies are ahead 3-2. You look at the comparison, George and Jeff, between these two clubs in the 8 games they've played coming in. The Dodgers have won 7. They've averaged, the Dodgers have 8.3 runs to 4.5 for the Rockies. The Dodgers have hit 348, the Rockies 236.
Well, all those numbers you're throwing out, what is the one thing that jumps out at you? Why are those numbers what they are? Pitching.
Well,
plain and simple.
Pitching. 4.69 ERA for the Dodgers, not great, but the Rockies ERA is above 8. The bullpen ERA is, you were just alluding to late in the ball game, 2.64 ERA for the Dodgers, which is very good. The Rockies bullpen ERA against LA this year, 9.10.
Pitching, both ends of it, the starting side of things and down on the bullpen side of things, they've just outpitched.
That goes back to your point too. Also, a lot of those runs early on to get that comfort level up.
Fourth inning, man aboard. Ryan Spilborg's fastball up above the belt, and he launches it to deep left center field. Gone. His 4th home run of the year. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the ball game, brought to you by our friends at Jimmy John's. Four home runs, 22 RBIs now for Ryan. 2-1. Whoa.
It's a little bit high. Russell Martin couldn't even jump to get that.
Change up. Hadn't thrown many of those in the ball game today. 81 miles an hour when he threw it and flew way out of the hand.
Let's see if he gets a heater here. 3-1. Well, he missed with it. Spilborgs goes to first. That'll bring up Garrett Atkins. That's the 4th walk allowed by Kershaw. 3 of them came within 4 hitters in the 3rd inning. The Rockies got only 1 run in that inning. That came on a balk. This is foul down the right field line. You know, guys, you don't want to forget that inning. Hopefully it becomes just a footnote in this ball game. The Rockies are able to carry this lead, maintain it, and win the ball game. But they had an opportunity in the 3rd inning really to get after LA, because Kershaw had lost control. And they got just 1 run. They never got a hit.
Yeah, a couple of walks came out of that thing. 3 walks to be exact. The box, the only way they got a run out of it. But the inning was set up to blow it way up. Just didn't happen.
Well, and Russell Martin making that tremendous throw to get Dexter Fowler there for the 2nd out of that inning.
Well, that's what he gets paid to do.
Well, I understand that, but that's why. I mean, that was another thing.
That was a great play.
That was a nice throw in that situation to snuff that rally out a little bit.
You know, I don't know if we have that again, George. That to me looked like a balk, because I don't think he ever paused.
And that's what I thought earlier in the ball game when I said balk that one time. That was back in the first inning with Dexter there. He just comes up high and really never stops for that 1 second. That time he did.
This ball on the ground to third. Loretta goes the short way, and the Rockies are done in their half of the 6th inning. Colorado 3, the Dodgers 2. We move on to the 7th at Coors Field on a Wednesday afternoon. Up to speed with the AT&T Rapid Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Rockies ahead 3-2. Andre Ethier to lead it off in the 7th. He has had a couple of knocks in this ball game. In fact, the next 2 hitters, Ethier and Kemp, are combined 4 for 4. We have 4 of the Dodgers' 7 hits. Rockies have been out hit 7 of 4, but they have the 1-run lead. Baldo's given up only 1 earned run in the game. Looking for his 4th victory. And he's ahead 1-2.
Well, he's only been 1 start this entire year. He has not thrown 100 pitches in, and that was a start against the Los Angeles Dodgers back on April the 25th. He threw 91. He's averaging right at about 15 pitches per inning. So, you know, you start to add that all up. It should get him through this inning, maybe even into the 8th inning if they want to extend it a little deeper. He's been as high as 115 pitches in a start this year.
And the other thing, too, I mean, it's not a real warm day down here on the field. There's a little bit of a breeze, so that's not a factor. Being overheated. Nice play.
Real nice play. Well, Baldo, like Cookie yesterday, Jeff, has been busy.
Well, we talk about it. A lot of times you think of Baldo because you talk about how hard he throws the baseball, 98, 99 miles an hour. But he's also able to field his position, gets a lot of ground ball outs. And that's another instance where he's just helping himself out. Hit it back to me, and I don't have to worry about the other fielders. I get it, make the play, get the out, and go on to the next guy.
Now bring up Matt Kemp. First hit for Matt was an infield hit. And that's down low, 2-0. Baldo's pitched plenty well enough to win in each of his last 2 outings, but a no decision and a loss. And 3-0, so got to regather his thoughts. First, got to go get the baseball. Didn't catch it on the return throw from Phillips. There's the automatic 3-1.
Well, the one bat that would concern you that's over on their bench would be Blake, who's getting a day off late in the game, to where if they get the tying run on or they need that one big swing, he'll be a guy Joe Torre goes to. But he's going to pick that spot where he does it.
Well, now you have a potential base stealer at first base in Matt Kemp. He's got 9 bags this year.
Talked a little bit about the pitch count with Ubaldo. It's at 96 right now. 55 of those 4 strikes.
You said it earlier. He's done a very good job managing the pitch count. And for a power guy, he gets a lot of ground balls because he throws that 2-seamer good deal of time. He gets a ton of ground balls. There's Randy Flores.
Well, 82 ground balls coming into this, 76 fly balls for Jimenez. But when he's needed to go get what Drew's saying, when he needs to go get the ground ball out, he has that ability to go do it. But a lot of it is the way he grips and pronates the ball in, and it creates that big sink on the baseball with that type of velocity.
Just natural movement.
Well, yeah, and he puts that horseshoe. I mean, to get too technical there, but he puts the horseshoe on the inside of the baseball, and then he pronates down and in. You just get that drive of it.
And a base hit. Now Kemp takes a look at it, and he's not going to run on Spilborghs, who got to the baseball quickly. So 2 on, 1 out. Yorvi Torrealba is galloping on the field of play now that it stopped. He was hiding down the right field line because the Rockies are going to get double-barreled action. So Mark Strittmatter, who's the bullpen instructor and catcher, bullpen catcher as well, is going to have company.
Well, as we mentioned last night, Jimmy Wright's not here. He's at his daughter's graduation back home, and Marcel Latchman is down running the bullpen right now. And I can tell you right now, Latch is not going to squat down and catch you out there in the bullpen throwing 85 miles an hour. Not that Jimmy Wright would. He might think about it. Now you have Manny Corpus is the one hiding. There's the Randy Flores going at it, buying a little bit of time.
And it is Casey Blake, George, who's come to the plate, as you mentioned. I mean, he's the one guy that you think of.
Well, Joe's got to pull that number right now.
Yeah, well, he can't wait till the ninth.
Yeah, and originally before the base hit, he had Hoffman out in the on-deck circle. This is your hottest bat in the month of May, hitting .372 with 4 home runs. This is you take your shot where it presents it, and it's presented itself.
Yeah, this is the card you play. 2 on, 1 out. Kemp at first, Kemp at second, Castro at first.
Blake's career versus Jimenez. There's not a lot of history there, just 4 at bats, but he is 2 for 4.
And Ubaldo gets the first pitch in there for a strike on Casey Blake, who is on some kind of run. Ever since Manny Ramirez had to depart for 50 games, Casey Blake has picked it up along with Juan Pierre. Batting .429 since Manny's suspension, and right now he's behind 0-2.
Well, the Dodgers have had 5 opportunities today with runners in scoring position. They are just 1 for 5. The Rockies 1 for 2.
Good block by Phillips. Chance for Kemp at second. And he just got back in there. Man, he was down about 40 feet.
Well, he's anticipating the ball getting by Phillips. Phillips has demonstrated in this ball game he blocks the baseball extremely well with very quick feet. He got to that ball in a hurry, and I think a little hesitation to fire because that is the winning run if you've misfire or somebody's not there to cover.
Tying run.
Or excuse me, tying run. You know, either way, you don't want it scoring.
No question. That's a great block by Phillips. 1-2 on Casey Blake. He got him. Big strikeout there from Ubaldo Jimenez. 2 outs and Juan Pierre will come up. Time for our job done right player of the series, and it is the former Rocky Juan Pierre. 6 for 14, a couple of triples, a double, 5 RBIs. He scored 4 runs. Our player of the series presented by the Colorado Association of Mechanical and Plumbing Contractors. To have your next building or service project done right the first time, visit mpccolorado.org. So Blake is gone. 5th punch out for Jimenez. And Pierre at the plate. He had a double in his last at bat over the head of Ryan Spilborghs in right and off the wall. And he takes strike 1.
Well, he's hit .393 with men in scoring position too. That's the other thing that jumps out at you with Juan Pierre. So it's a very dangerous at bat and how you're going to try to play him. Matt Merton is shaded to the line, squared back up more. The outfield is shallow, even after the double hit earlier off the wall.
One and one on Pierre. Kemp at second runs very well. Castro has good speed at first.
Well, and you know how aggressive Larry Bowa is.
2 outs in a 1-run game. There's no question
on that one.
Yeah. Swung on and missed. Pierre fooled on the pitch.
Well, one area that Ubaldo has excelled at is just this. 2 outs, runners in scoring position. The opposition has hit .226 against him. Here's the pitch in to Pierre. Typically not a pitch you would see him go after so much. Crowded him pretty good. A little bit up into the strike zone.
You go in or away, George?
Bounce the hook. I think with a fastball. The only reason I say that with him, for me, he's such a very good fastball header. Such quick hands. Talking about Pierre, whether it's in or it's away, that I want to put some movement of some kind on the baseball. It's either diving down one way or the other. You want to go hard sinker, go hard sinker. But my point is, put some movement on the baseball. Don't try to four seam this guy.
1-2, and it looked like a slider away. 2-2.
This has got to be the pitch. You don't want it to get to 3-2 so the runners can take off running.
Now you have a professional hitter behind Pierre and Loretta.
Man, how did he foul that off?
Yeah, no kidding. Hard slider at 89 on that back foot like that. But you know what? He fires his hands so late at the baseball, and his coordination with the bat to his hands to the side of it. I mean, this is on the Hyundai cam here. Watch this ball, folks, just like it's going to disappear away from him, and just nicks enough of it. But look how far out in front he is on the pitch.
Notice how his body, and his knees went down to get that to foul it off. Most guys, you'll see him still make that swing, but that back knee almost hit the ground.
Juan Pierre struck out in the second inning. That is an aberration. He rarely strikes out. And he lines this one past Helton. It's going to tie up the baseball game. Castro is going to go to third. And we're even at 3. Juan Pierre, who has been, I think, without argument, the MVP of the Dodgers in the absence of Manny Ramirez, comes through yet again. He's a leadoff man, Jeff Houston. He's got 6 RBIs in this series.
Well, I would agree with the MVP, because what he's been able to do, as you mentioned, with Manny gone, he's just stepped right in and fouled off a couple pitches, and then he turns on this one and just passed Todd Helton, who had a nice diving attempt at it. But we've seen this already from so many times from Juan Pierre, and then not able to get Castro going to third base. Man, oh man, every time they need a big hit, it's been JP.
Yeah, the Rockies will make a double switch. Manny Corpus will come on in a 3-3 ball game. I'll tell you about the changes when we return. 2 outs in the 7th inning. Mark Loretta at the plate. Ubaldo Jimenez is now out of the ball game. Ian Stewart comes in for Garrett Atkins in a double switch. And Manny Corpus will be asked to get Mark Loretta. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. Now you go back, at least for the moment, guys, to that inning early on, the 3rd, when the Rockies scored 1, when it was set up to get more than that.
Yeah, it was. It was set up to get a whole lot more than that. Interesting note right now, with Corpus in the game, 1st and 3rd, he's inherited 8 runners, 2 have scored. The thing that jumps on me a little bit, 60% of the time the leadoff man has gotten on base of an inning. This is where you got to just come in, and I know he's gotten much better in the last week and a half of throwing the baseball. You need it here with a tie score in the bottom of the 7th, top of the 7th, excuse me.
You also got to watch for Juan Pierre to steal a base.
You know, Jeff, you're right. That winning run at 3rd right now, but for me, with Manny on the mound, I want him to get Mark Loretta. If Juan steals the base, I don't want his focus pulled at all towards 1st. And I know defensively you're worried about Juan getting 2nd, but let that be number 2 or 3. Number 1's got to be Loretta.
No, you're right. I was just looking at towards the catcher's point of view and the call that they made, whether it's going to be throwing all the way through, whether he's going to pump fake and hold the baseball, whether he just come up and fire to 3rd. I mean, those are the things that you got to try to figure out. Phillips has already given the sign of what he's going to do. If he's not throwing all the way through, then you can hold your ground in the middle.
Pierre not going. It's inside. 1-1 on Loretta. Mark a walk, a ground ball to 2nd, and he lined back to Jimenez. Ubaldo turned it into a double play to end the 5th inning.
Yeah, you mentioned
Loretta
earlier
is a career 300 hitter.
You mentioned earlier in the ballgame how LA had given comfort to the starting pitcher by outscoring the opposition 3-1 in the 1st inning. Well, how about this in the 7th inning? The Rockies have been outscored 43-16 in the 7th inning. Yeah. The Dodgers have outscored their opponent 42-15 in the 7th inning.
And George, from the 7th inning on, 7th through the 9th inning this year against the Rockies, the Dodgers have outscored Colorado 28-4.
Yeah, that goes back to the bullpen number you showed earlier when you said that the bullpen's earned run averages with the 2 ball club.
Yeah, bullpen average for the ERA for the Rockies over 9 against LA. Windshield damage, don't wait. Call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safe Light Auto Glass, 303-287-5000 or safelight.com. No movement and a base hit in center field. Dodgers take a 4-3 lead. Pierre will go 1st to 3rd. And the old veteran Mark Loretta comes through. That run is charged to Jimenez as well.
Yeah, again, fastball. Look at him work the hands inside the baseball to get the solid wood on the ball. You see it on the Hyundai cam. An extension and the drive of the ball right back up the middle, just out of the reach. Not hit particularly hard, just hard enough to get out of the reach of everybody and score the run and make it a 4-3 ball game for the Dodgers.
Orlando Hudson comes up. He's 1 for 3. Scratched out an infield hit his last time up to extend his hitting streak to 17 games, one of the top 3 hitting streaks in the National League this year. Ryan Zimmerman the longest with Washington at 30 games earlier. Hudson's hit 389 during that stretch. Here's the 1-0, 2-0. You know, I look back at Jimenez's line. You walk 2 6 2/3. That's not bad. But both guys that he walked ended up scoring. He walked Loretta in the 1st. He scored. In this inning with 1 out, he walked Kemp, and Kemp ended up scoring. Now you're creating a problem unless you can come all the way back here. He's 3-0 on Hudson with Loney on deck.
Yeah,
he's just killed the Rockies.
Yeah, well, he won't face long.
No, that'll have to be the left-hander.
Yeah, Flores warming up down the bullpen.
He's been warming for a while. He's got to be ready. But still, I mean, George, you were in that position a bunch. Right, left, or indifferent. You come in with the bases loaded. That's no fun.
It's not fun at all. It's just a matter of how you accept the challenge. And now Manny gave it a little look in at the umpire. Quite honestly, Clint's in a position now. He's just got to go make the move again and get the left-hander into the ball game. He's going to do just that.
So Manny faces two. He didn't retire either one. Loretta base hit to drive in the go-ahead run. And Hudson walks on 5 pitches. They're loaded up. James Loney coming to the plate. Randy Flores moving from the bullpen to the mound. 4-3 LA. Twice here in the 7th inning to overcome a 1-run deficit. They have the bases loaded. Pierre, an RBI single to tie it up, is at third. Mark Loretta, the go-ahead hit, is at second. Orlando Hudson a moment ago walked. James Loney, the cleanup hitter for the Dodgers, is coming up. And the Rockies have Randy Flores now on center stage. This call to the pen is brought to you by Comcast. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST.
The Dodgers had a similar situation last night with Casey Blake and the bases loaded. He was able to empty those bases. The ball club, the Dodgers have hit .264 in 09 with the bases loaded. With less than 2 outs, .313. Well, there's 2 outs. They've only hit a .190.
In Loney's career, he has hit .279 left on left.
If I'm on the left side of the infield, Ian Stewart, Troy Tulowitzki, I'm thinking the ball's coming to me just because of the way Loney hit the ball the other night. Trying to just stay through the ball and hit it to left field.
And Flores moves him back off the plate with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, ball 1. Again, this is another one of those critical places in a ball game. You're disappointed out there that the 1-run advantage has turned into a 1-run deficit. Keep it there. You have 9 more outs offensively to work with. That breaking pitch in there for a strike. You give up a hit here, and now you're really battling uphill.
Well, think about the 4 runs they've scored. 3 of them have been with 2 outs, and then the other one was on an air.
Two and 1. We've mentioned this throughout the series. James Loney has a good eye. He does not strike out much. He's a quality hitter. He leads the Dodgers in RBIs with 32. Picked his 33rd off actually earlier. This ball, the gap in right center field. Long run for Skilgords. Can't get there. It's going to roll all the way to the wall. It will clear the bases. The 3rd time in this series, 1 in each ball game, the Dodgers have come up with the bases loaded and got a bases clearing hit. Blake did it yesterday. Pierre did it on Monday. And here it is, James Loney. And now it is 7-3 LA.
4 RBI day for the young man, too, with that big base hit on a ball up into the strike zone. 2 of the runs will be charged to Manny Corpus, where he did not retire an out. But Loney got a ball up into the zone and made him pay in the right center field. You know, we talked about what he had gone to the opposite field so much, Jeff, yet almost over 25 hits to center and 11 to right, just 16 to left.
Yeah.
And you'd think with a left-hander on the mound, he wouldn't be able to pull. He would be going the other way.
Yeah, but he got that fastball up and in, and then that's really the only place he can try to go. But once again, it was a ball that was left up in the zone. I mean, both balls that he's hit today, the one earlier in the ball game for the base hit was up in the zone off of Ubaldo. That one again to Flores, same thing.
Two 0s in there, a strike on Russell Martin. The Dodgers have hit around here in the 7th inning. And what is it about the 7th inning? Jeff, we saw a couple of ugly 7th innings on that road trip.
Well, it's just the bullpen's inability to come in and do their job.
This is fisted to short. Tulo's got a hustle. Martin runs pretty well. He gets it by a couple of steps. In the inning, 5 runs for the Dodgers. The big blow, a bases loaded double from James Loney. After that 5-run 7th inning. So the Rockies have to get after the bullpen now. The Dodgers deficient on the scoreboard by 4 runs. Mark Stout has our Excel Energy fun fact. Mark?
And Drew, it has to do with Dodgers captains. There's only been 5 in the long history of the Dodgers. It started with Pee Wee Reese back in 1949. And then there were 3 under Walter Austin. Duke Snyder, Maury Wills, and Willie Davis. And then 1 under Tommy Lasorda. That would be Davey Lopes in 78 and 79. Pee Wee Reese was under Branch Rickey. They haven't had a captain since. I didn't get a chance to ask Joe Torre about captains, but I'll ask George. Talk a little bit about captains in baseball. I don't know how often it happens with teams, but only 5 in the history of the Dodgers are XL Energy fun fact.
Well, you know what? To be honest with you, I don't care for captains in baseball. I just think that I would rather look and prefer at it, Mark, to be honest with you. I think veteran guys are leaders. I think veteran guys can handle themselves, that you don't need to put a C on a guy's shirt or make him the captain of a baseball team. I think that's good for football. Obviously, I think for hockey, it's obvious to have that guy. But for baseball, I think it's too long of a season. You have a manager that if something goes wrong, he can air out a little bit. Just an opinion.
Ronald Belisario, George, out of the bullpen into the ball game. 6 innings for Clayton Kershaw, Clint Barmas, Paul Phillips, and then a pinch hitter for Randy Flores. That's in tight, 2-0. Belisario was in the ball game 2 days ago. He went 2 scoreless innings. Only base runner was on a walk. Actually, let me correct something. I forgot the Rockies a double switch. Stewart's in the ball game now, so Stewart will hit in the 9-hole. And the pitcher spot is where Garrett Atkins was originally situated. That is the 6-hole. So Stewart will hit third this inning. 2-2 on Clint Barmas. 0 for 1 and a walk. The Dodgers have made a move also. The guy catching the baseball after that strikeout is Casey Blake. So Loretta's out of the ball game. Casey Blake stays in.
Well, Levy's bat in, and even though it's a 4-run ball game, and again, top pinch hitter, top hitter right now in their ball club, he's the obvious to leave in the ball game when you do the pinch hitting side of things. And switch it around a bit. Blake will hit 8th, and Belisario will hit 2nd behind Pierre.
Paul Phillips, he walked back in the 3rd inning and then hit a fly ball to right field. So Paul's 0 for 1. And he gets underneath this one. The wind is going to take this. Not quite out of play. I thought it was going to get it enough to remove it from the field of play. Blake reaches over the fence and makes the catch.
I was with you, Drew. I thought the way the wind, just looking at the flags out in the outfield, but Blake goes over there and is able to find the wall, sticks his right hand out, understands where he's at, and then reaches just far enough to make that catch.
That's all right. Use the other hand to do it. Hey, fans, let me tell you about a great package that's going on right now with the Rockies. It's called Green Packs. Purchase a green package and help out the environment while enjoying a day at the ballpark. You get 2 tickets for only $20. $5 of each pack sold will go to the Wood for Wood tree planting program here in Colorado. So go to ColoradoRockies.com to purchase a green pack today.
There's Blake. We were talking about him. Two and 1. Here's the final line on Ubaldo Jimenez. 6 2/3. He gives up 5 runs, 4 of them earned on 9 hits, a couple of walks, 5 strikeouts through 109 pitches. He's on the losing end of things as it stands right now. Clayton Kershaw obviously is on the plus side. Kershaw went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on just 4 hits. One of the hits a 2-run home run from Spilboards. That's a ball. 3 and 2. Walked 4, struck out 4.
Very similar as far as walks and strikeouts. What he did his first time. The difference was the runs he allowed this time.
Well, just 4 hits this time. The last time it was 9 hits, and they put a lot of them into the gaps. I mean, they jumped all over. They jumped all over his mistakes, Jeff, when he did make them here at Coors Field. And you know, you watched it pitch today with all the commotion going on. Maybe it's the box, the walks, and everything else. You wouldn't expect just 3 runs given up.
No, you're right. And then the fumble with that air there. It's just, I mean, a lot of things just seem to happen to him. But the one thing he did do when he needed to, he made a pitch. And all comes back to that. After the home run to Spilboards, able to strike out Clint Barmas and get Paul Phillips to fly out.
Yeah, I was just looking back on the last 3 games. In that first ball game, as we chatted extensively about, the Dodgers walked 11. Last night, the bullpen for the Dodgers walked 5. Bilton didn't walk anybody. The bullpen walked 5, so that's 16 walks. Kershaw walked 4 in 6 innings. That's 20 free passes.
6 point whatever. What is it? 6.6 per
and now
game.
This is 21, and yet the Rockies have lost the first 2 games by a total of 16 runs, and they're behind in this game by 4 runs. That doesn't really add up.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You got to take advantage of what's presented to you.
I mean, 21 free passes in 3 ball games.
But the difference is coming up with that big hit. And Clint Hurdle talked about that in his pregame show today. It's press conference, not coming up with that big hit when you needed to. That's the difference between these 3 games so far.
Dexter Fowler takes another strike. It's 0-2. Dexter 1 for 2 and a walk. Struck out in the 5th inning. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Belisario with his 2nd strikeout of the inning. He gets Fowler. And we move on to the 8th inning, 7-3 Los Angeles. Brought to you by the Great Colorado Payback, reuniting you with your money. By the Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Ask about our hometown sports package. And by Priority Mail, flat rate boxes only from the Postal Service, a simpler way to ship. Pretty day in lower downtown Denver, and what was looking good doesn't look so good right now. Rockies had a 3-2 lead entering the top of the 7th inning. The combination of Jimenez, Corpus, and Flores gave up 5 runs. And now Alan Embry will take his turn here in the 8th. 20th appearance for Embry.
Had a couple of bumps, hit the speed bump a couple of times. That's why you see the blow up on the earned run average, particularly the last 2 outings that he's had. He's pitched 12 innings. Over 19 games. Obviously coming in to face a lot of left-handers. He's going to get Ethier to start this inning off, and then followed by Kemp.
Ethier 2 for 3 against Jimenez in the ball game. He led off the 7th inning with a comebacker. Harmless start to that 7th inning, and now he gets hit by a pitch.
Phillips a little bit too.
Trying to come inside with the fastball. He's going to catch it right off the bottom of the elbow and then right onto the thumb of Paul Phillips.
That'll bring up Matt Kemp. He's had a perfect day. 2 for 2 and a walk. Scored last inning. George did a little more research on the 21 walks that the Rockies have received in this series, only 4 have scored, and 3 came opening
on the opening night. Out of
yeah.
what they have 14 walks, 4 of those scored that night, or whatever it was.
11
walks, and then 4 of those scored. But Simpson only 1 out of the next 20, or out of the next 10.
Fouled off. 1-1. Alan Embry. That is what's known in the business as a rubber arm. 60 appearances or more in 10 consecutive seasons.
A little old school. He won't tell you no. You'll just have to shut him down for a day. I mean, he's a guy that will take the ball and take it in any situation. If you need to eat up some innings because the bullpen's wore out, he'll do that for you. Go back-to-back days, multiple innings, back-to-back days.
And the other thing old school too, George, is he's just a guy that will take his 8 warm-up pitches. He doesn't need hardly any down in the bullpen. He can come get 8 out on the mound here when they call him in, be ready to go.
Yeah, a lot of guys like that a few years back. Not many today like that.
Boy, that's off the mask of Phillips. His mask came off. Watch this thing on the Hyundai cam.
Man. Well, now we understand last night why we saw Andy Fletcher, the home plate umpire last night. He's at third tonight, wear the mouth guard.
You know what? Fortunately, Paul's okay. That's a great look at it. At a Hyundai cam. This is deep right field. Spilborghs on the edge of the warning track makes the catch, and Matt Kemp is retired. That'll bring up Juan Castro. Rockies in the 8th inning will have Tulowitzki, Helton, and MURTON trying to get something going. And here's Embry's pitch. It's up high, ball 1. Embry first reached the big leagues in 1992 with Cleveland. Pitched in Atlanta as well, Arizona, San Francisco, the White Sox, San Diego, Boston for a while, the Yankees briefly, San Diego again, Oakland the last 2 years. And Ethier takes off, and he's going to steal this base standing up.
Third one of the year for Andre Ethier. To give me a chance to also tell you can take a tour of Coors Field that are available throughout Monday through Saturday, I should say. Give you a chance to see the areas of the ballpark you can't normally see. So make sure you do a grip or individual ticket. 303 Rockies for more information.
Now Embry wants Phillips to come out.
We'll go back to Ethier's steal just for a second. The first 2 times when Allen came up, he was taking a half step back towards the bag, and that time when he took off, he just went first movement. He was just guessing that, you know what, Allen's not going to throw over here to first base, and that's why he went like he did and was able to steal it so easily.
Did you ever bluff a guy into doing that, a left-hander, Huey, by moving back as if he couldn't get the read, and then just took off?
Yep, and that's a smart ploy. One more look at it. As soon as that leg comes up, he takes off. There's no hesitation whatsoever. But you're right, Drew. Any sort of way you can try to fool the opposition or the pitcher, because I'm sure in the back of his mind going, oh, he can't read me. I'm not going to worry about throwing over there.
Two and two. Dodgers are on the kind of roll where it doesn't matter what Joe Torre does. Whatever move he makes, whatever player he inserts, that player steps forward. Juan Castro is a terrific example of that. Castro playing for Cal down the last few days. Every day throws out a hit or two. Plays solid defense.
Look at his on-base percentage, 455. I mean, that's just unheard of from a bench guy.
And this is lobbed into short right field. Vargas is going to get back and make the catch. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Casey Blake for his second at bat. Came in last inning, struck out, stayed in the ball game at third base. If your windshield has any damage, please call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelite.com. You know, if you're a Dodger fan, George and Jeff, what an odd season. We have not seen, I mean, LA for years has adored the Dodgers, but we have not seen crowds as enthusiastic as we saw late last year with the arrival of Manny and the great run the Dodgers had to capture the division. And then the start of this year was like it's going to be a banner year, and Manny's in the middle of things. They finally got him signed. They get off to the tremendous start, and then all of a sudden the news that was a slap across the face to really all of baseball, but particularly Dodger fans. And they're wondering what's going to happen to our club. Well, all that's happened is they've rolled along.
They got better.
In some ways they have.
They got better. I mean, and again, I'm not trying to take anything away from what Manny meant to their ball club and all of that too, but I think they were .500 last year until Jeff Kent got hurt and left the team with Manny. Manny, after they traded for Manny, they were .500. Then the minute Kent got hurt, not to lay it all on Jeff, but Jeff was hard on these younger players. Kemp, Loney, those guys, he threw very hard on them, and it split their locker room. And when Jeff left last year, even though they had Manny, it was .500. As soon as he left, they took off and ran away with the division.
And that bounces up there. It's 2-1.
Well, we just saw a shot of Joe Torre just a second ago, and I think that's the man that deserves a lot of credit for this. So many times when he was in New York saying, well, he won because he had great players, and then but the media attention in New York and now what he's been able to do in LA, I think it just speaks volumes of the type of manager that Joe Torre is and has become.
I tell you what, he was asked by T.J. Simers, who used to work in this town, longtime LA Times writer. And T.J. asked him before Game 3 in Denver a couple of nights ago. He said, "Do you feel like the Lakers have stolen the spotlight from the Dodgers?" And he said, "That's okay." He said, I was in New York with the Yankees where the spotlight was on you no matter what time of day or what time of year it was. He goes, "I'm fine with that." And the spotlight will shift back to the Dodgers as Blake walks as soon as the Lakers are done, and hopefully it's this week. 7-3, Dodgers leading. They're 2 on and 2 outs. Juan Pierre coming up. And while Bob Apodaca goes to the mound, again, we visit with Mark Stout with this afternoon's Great Colorado Payback Sideline Report. Mark?
All right, thanks, guys. On a sunny day, I like to get out of the sun above the visitors' bullpen. You see the Dodgers hanging out because you can see the entire field. You can see the batter's eye on the landscaping with the fountains. You got a good shot of the scoreboard, and you can watch the game on FSN Rocky Mountain. I love that, too. And, oh, by the way, in the distance, the snow-capped peaks of the Rocky Mountains. Doesn't get any better than that. Let's go up to the booth.
Yeah, there's so many gorgeous vantage points here at Coors Field. Juan Pierre, comebacker, a strikeout, a double, and an RBI single last inning to tie up the game. That was the hit that knocked Ubaldo Jimenez out.
It doesn't like we've had the conversation about with Manny out, without Manny, and the Dodgers 11-7 since May 7th. That's when Manny was asked to leave for a while. 303 batting average, 5.9 runs a game, almost 6, and a lot of it due to the fact that the guy with the guy standing at the plate Their earned run average, though, at 391, and the opposition has hit just 252 against them over that time frame. So the pitching, as it typically does in baseball, Jeff Houston, that shuts down pretty good hitting regardless of who you are.
That's right. The pitching and defense, those are the two keys. And then you can throw an offense like the Dodgers. That's a recipe for a lot of wins.
And this is blooped to short center field. It's a base hit. 1 run is scored. Going first to third is Casey Blake. And it is 8-3. Pierre with 7 RBIs in the series. He's now 3 for 5 in the ball game. And Jeff Houston, you hit from the left side. How about these numbers? Juan this year against lefties is now 16 for 29.
Now those are just really ridiculous numbers, but another instance where he pulls those hands in, doesn't hit the ball all that hard. That's a couple balls now. If you look back to last night's ball game, that barely hit the dirt, and that one just a little chinker into center field. But it goes back to having the good swing path through the zone. That's what he's been able to do.
And George, how many times have we talked about, you know, just get one in play here? Sometimes good things happen. Get it in play. Nothing good's going to happen if you make a left turn.
No, you're getting a drink of water real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, there ain't anything good about it. Put the ball in play. Maybe they'll make the mistake. Put the pressure on their defense first to third. A lot of things can happen for you. Well, originally Joe Torre was going to send Jamie Hoffman up to the plate to hit. So they had to go find Belisario and bring him back out of the dugout to hit. He had to hunt down his gloves, the helmet, the bat, come back up again. A 26-year-old taking a shot from Venezuela to get a base hit.
I would pretty much guarantee that the bat that's in Belisario's mitts right now doesn't have his autograph on the end. Marvis will throw him out in the inning. Another run for LA. Easier reach when he was hit by a pitch. He comes around to score on the Pierre single. 8-3 LA. Of the 8th inning, Troy Tulowitzki, Todd Helton, and Matt Merton. It'll be the 2nd inning of work for Belisario. He worked 2 innings on Monday. He had a scoreless 7th inning. Yeah, summer has begun for a lot of kids. My boys are out of school.
Last day of school for my boys today.
Today?
Today.
There you go. Nuggets tonight in Los Angeles.
I'm getting old. Georgia's going to graduate in December next year. It's the last time I get to go to high school football. I mean, you know, to go out and cheer on a school. I'll still go to a lot of games. I love yelling at Russell. Sitting at Jinx High School, about 12,000. They don't know Russell.
That's a big high school.
Yeah, they have an awful lot of people show up. Good football. Send a lot of guys to the NFL.
Tulowitzki's 0 for 3. He's behind 0-1 and now 0-2.
Nasty slider.
Belisario's kind of stepped forward in that Dodger bullpen in the setup role. He's done a good job.
Well, they needed it. They had hoped Mota might be that guy. A couple other guys that they'd looked upon to come in and then take over that role. Wade, now that he's back, Oman is the left side of things, but Belisario's done a nice job. Good arm. 95 with the last heater.
The last hit for the Rockies was that infield hit that Garrett Atkins got with 1 out in the 4th inning. Rockies hitting in the 8th. They have only 4 hits. And if not for Ryan Spilborg's big fly with a man aboard, they'd have only 1 run.
Last night their bullpen didn't yield a hit when it came in and finished up the ball game. And again, here we are now in the same type of situation.
One of the remarkable things is, when things are bad, it just seems like the end of the world. The Rockies in 07, when they had 90 wins at the end of the year, and everybody knows what happened late in that season, incredible run. But they were 18-27 that year. And they obviously have a long way to go to turn this ship around right now, but I sometimes subscribe to that old theory. It's never as bad as the worst day, and you're never as good as your best day. But the Rockies right now are as down as I've seen them in a long time. And that's strike 3. Third strikeout for Belisario. And here comes Todd. And Helton lines it to Juan Pierre and left. And now Matt Merton will take his turn. Merton struck out, doubled, and hit a fly ball to center field. That's brother Luke. Plays at Georgia Tech just like Matt did.
First team all ACC selection this year.
Yeah, really nice for mom and dad because they now live in the Atlanta area. Outside 1-1. A couple of finals in the National League. Cardinals beat Milwaukee today 3-2. And the Cubs beat the Pirates 5-2. Everything else other than this one later on in the National League. And in the American League, Toronto's hit the skids. Baltimore beat them 12-10 today. Is that 9 in a row for the Blue Jays? On the wrong side?
Yes, it is. Just 4 games over 500 now.
Yeah, Cito Gaston, they got some cushion early. This ball's on the ground to short. Castro to Loney, and the Rockies go quickly and quietly in the 8th inning. 8-3 Los Angeles. ball game. The post-game reporters always will follow. Tom Helmer is in his normal spot in center field. Tom?
That's right. I'm in my normal perch, and Tracy's back here watching the ball game. We're getting ready for the post-game report. Coming up, we'll hear from Clint Hurdle. It's getting interesting here as these games go along to hear those post-game press conferences. Also swept away. That's pretty much self-explanatory. And mound of trouble. We're going to talk about the bullpen, how it's been shaky for this Rockies team. We'll break it all down after the game. Drew?
All right, Tom, thank you. Houston Street needing to get work. This is how we like to see Houston. Like to see him protecting a lead.
Well, when you get done with your inning, you're walking over and getting a few high fives, not going over just to get make sure you got your 15 pitches in during the week to keep you sharp. 7 saves and 7 opportunities. His 100th coming not too long ago. 18 1/3 innings, 344 earned run average, covering 20 games, an 0-1 record.
I was looking back the last couple of ball games in this series, George, because you had remarked to me during the break, the Rockies, and we touched on it, the Rockies don't have a hit after the 4th inning. So after the 6th inning on Monday, they got 3 hits. Last night they had only 2 hits after the 6th inning on. And today, from the 5th inning on, they don't have any hits.
It's basically 5 hits in the 3-game series beyond the 6th.
Is it right? I mean, that's half the game, right?
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
much.
no question. Yeah, difficult. Their bullpen has come in and done a nice job, but it's not like they're sending 5 closers at you.
You know, and oftentimes, watching the NBA closely, it's a lot of the NBA games come down to the final 5 minutes, playoff basketball especially. Well, Major League Baseball, more often than not, the ball games are going to come down to the final 3 innings of play. And the Rockies offensively not getting it done. Houston Street against Orlando Hudson, and he misses ball 1. Orlando is 1 for 3 in a walk, so he now has a 17-game hitting streak. He leads the National League in hits. He leads the National League in multi-hit games. The only guy who's got more multi-hit games in baseball is Aaron Hill of Toronto. We were talking about Toronto's slide of late. Well, Aaron Hill's had a terrific year. And Orlando has reached base in 27 straight games. There's a strike. And this is the 48th game of the year for Joe Torre's club. Orlando has reached in 46 of the 48, and he started every game. You know, I was talking to Torre the other day, and one of the reporters in his office asked him, Joe, do you remember your first hit, your first home run, etc.? And he said, I remember my first hit. And he said, who was it against? It was Harvey Haddix, who threw the 12-inning no-hitter.
Yeah. Later became a pitching coach with Pittsburgh Pirates.
Here's the 1-2 on Hudson, and it's fouled back. A tough chance for Street. He plants and throws. Well done. That was an athletic play.
Very athletic to get over and barehand the baseball and make the snap throw to first base, but that is all about the body balance after he caught the baseball. Allowed him to have an accurate throw to first base. Watch when he barehands this, look at the back foot plant, and then make the throw. Very balanced and accurate with the throw.
James Loney came up to bat in the 7th inning after the Dodgers are taking a 4-3 lead. The Rockies can retire James Loney. You're disappointed with how the 7th inning went, but still very much in the ball game. And Loney unloaded a 3-run double to give the Dodgers considerable separation. Since then they've added a run. James Loney, 4 more RBIs at Coors Field. This guy played the Rockies every day, George. They'd send him right to Cooperstown.
Boy, and that's the truth. 4 RBIs today. What day was it, Dougie, that he had 9 in here one day?
It was his rookie year.
Rookie year since September, and he had 9 RBIs in a game, tied Sammy Sosa, I think, for the most in a single game at Coors Field.
He's got 34 RBIs in 24 games here.
And how many RBIs does he have in his career? Is this like a quarter of how many he's got in his career have come here at this ballpark?
I'm going to look that up for you. 1 and 2.
I mean, 34 in a short time. It's not like he's been in the big leagues 10 years.
Unofficially, George, he has 44 of his 207 RBIs
in his career
against the Rockets, 20%.
I thought he had more RBIs than 207 in his career.
Actually, a little more than that.
Yeah, 25%. Whoa.
%21.2%. Also with his hits today, he'll bring a 10-game hitting streak to Wrigley Field tomorrow against the Cubs. And Street misses away. 3 and 2. Todd helped. So Todd gloves it, 2 outs. And that'll bring up Russell Martin. Russell's 0 for 4 in the game.
Not an easy play for Todd Helton. Why do you say that? Because look at the top spin on the baseball coming at you a little bit off to the side of it to try to judge that at about 98 to 105 miles an hour.
If it's coming in at 90 plus, it's certainly
getting out in a hurry. That's the difference.
Heading the other direction faster than that. Martin, 3 ground outs and a strikeout. Rockies in the bottom of the 9th will have Spilborghs, a pinch hitter, and Barnes. Will Ullman out of Parker, Colorado. He's throwing in the Dodger bullpen. Two and 2. Martin from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And he's got on the slider. So Street works a 1-2-3 9th inning. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Dodgers ahead 8-3 at Coors Field. On FSN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Southwest has low fares with no hidden fees, where what you see is what you pay. By Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. By Big Brothers Big Sisters. Donate your car and you'll get a free tow and tax break, and you'll help change a kid's life. And by Mike Shaw Chevy Saab, Colorado's crossover and SUV headquarters for 50 years. Visit MikeShawAuto.com. Yep. Big fella Belisario is going to get a third inning of work, which means he has an opportunity to pick off a save. Dodgers ahead 8-3 with a 5-run 7th inning. The Rockies carried a 3-2 lead to the 7th. Ubaldo Jimenez got the 2 outs, and then Juan Pierre got a base hit off him. Manny Corpus came in. Mark Loretta greeted him with a hit. There was a walk behind that. In came Randy Flores, and he gave up a 3-run double to James Loney. Ryan Spilborghs had a 2-run home run to give the Rockies that 3-2 lead back in the 4th. Spilly's 1 for 2 and a walk in the game. Pitcher spot on deck after a double switch a couple of innings ago. So Seth Smith will be next. And this almost took Belisario's head off. Now he's roped to center field by Spilborghs. Rockies' first hit since the 4th inning. Only their 3rd base runner. The fans remember, when the Rockies score 7 or more runs in a ball game, you go to Taco Bell the next day, you get fed well. 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. Now Joe Torre is going to bring in Will Omen. Good job. A couple of claps. Take the baseball from Belisario. Dodgers elect to get Will Omen, who was warming up, some work. And I think people sometimes, George at home, wonder, well, you know, if you weren't going to give Belisario the whole inning with a 5-run lead, why'd you put him out there? I think this was Joe's plan the whole time.
Yeah, probably because he had Omen warming up to go out, and he just said, whatever they counter with, I'll go ahead and counter right behind him. He's got the big guy Broxton warming up next, right behind him.
And as you well know, having made your living down there, it's all about keeping guys sharp.
But sharp in situations you may enter into. In other words, men on base, left-handed bat, you got to go up and face it, get the out if you can. Broxton, if they close the gap up enough to get him in a ball game. The one thing that always managers are fearful of is putting the closer out in a 5, 6, 7-run ball game and have them throw 25, 30 pitches and lose them for the next day.
Yeah,
because they're a different animal. They like those 1 or 2-run leads, and I'm going to come in and try to shut things down with it.
Spilborghs takes off. 1-1 on Smith. He hasn't had many at bats this year left on left. He's 1 for 6. But he's not uncomfortable left on left. Some guys, George, you saw this a million times. Some guys get up there and they just don't look like they have an idea against the lefty.
It doesn't seem like it bothers him much of anything.
No.
He just goes up and swings the bat.
The reason he hasn't been starting the last few days is it's been lefty starters on the hill in all 3 games for the Dodgers. So Matt MURTON has gotten a lot of playing time, and Hop's been down the last couple of days with a groin injury. He hopes to be playing again by Friday when the Padres come to town. Spielborg's the last 2 days has started in right. Fowler's a switch hitter, and MURTON again in left field. 3-1. And this ball is ripped to the gap in right center field. Spielborg's will come home. Smith to second, and he's going to move on to third base. It's a triple. Stand-up triple for Seth Smith, and it's 8-4. Told you looked comfortable left on left.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? After the base hit given up by Belisario, the lefty comes in, hangs the fastball, the heater right out over the plate, allow the extension and the ability to drive the ball out into the gap. Smith will pick up an RBI for him. That is his 4th RBI as a pinch hitter for the Rockies. And Joe Torre will go to the bullpen and says, you know what? It's a 4-run ball game. I'm going to get the big boy, the tying run. It's just not going to happen. I'm going to make sure this thing tries to shut it down right now.
So Holman faces the lefty. He gives up the triple. And here comes the big kid from Georgia, Jonathan Broxton. 8-4 Los Angeles, bottom of the 9th inning. Back after this. Richie Dower talking to Seth Smith, and Jonathan Broxton completing his warm-up pitches. Broxton's 11 of 13 in save situations, despite the fact that the Rockies are down by 4. Since the tying run is in the hole, the potential tying run, this is a save situation.
Well, you're going to see a fastball, folks. It's going to range anywhere from 94. It has tipped 100 miles an hour before, with a hard slider to come right behind it. And, I think working under a lot of the different great closers that they had here, including Gagne, that Broxton learned a few things on how to handle himself, his approach, because he is one of the most, I should say, power arms in the game at the back end of a ball game. You shut it down.
First heater came in at 98.
Well, 18 of 20 games he's pitched in, scoreless. 14 of 20 hitless. Is that any good?
Very good. Here's the 0-1 to Barmes, and he hits this down the right field line, and it is going to drift into foul territory and into the seats.
98 with the heater on the gun, in-house gun.
Four-year-old Jonathan Broxton. He's already, George, had more than 3 years of big league service time.
Young kid, big power arm. They said, you know what? He throws hard, he throws strikes, rush it to the big leagues and see what happens with it. 36 strikeout and 23 2/3 innings pitched this year. He's only walked 7. Big sink, big move on the baseball at a high rate of speed at 99, folks. On the knees.
Paul Phillips 0 for 2 and a walk. Smith at third base. The inning started with a Spilborg single and a Smith pinch hit triple. Ball and a strike. And this is popped up, foul ground. Blake's not going to have a play. Here's the 1-2 from Broxton, and Phillips covers it. That heater at 98.
Doug, you just keep bringing more good news about Broxton to me. The opposition's now hitting 0.92 against him. Before it's the strikeouts, the walks, it's all the other things. But he's just bringing a wealth of great information.
You know what? But
on
Doug,
Broxton.
This is rare that we say this, but Dougie's actually wrong because it was 0.92 before the strikeout of Barnes.
I got you. So it's like 0.88 now, 0.90.
It's kind of like Zach Greinke's ERA. It's really, really small. You look at Broxton, you say he ought to throw hard, and he does.
Well, you just don't see too many 6'6", 250, 70, 80-pound guys that throw soft.
What'd you say? He had seen
I added a
250
few,
since
270,
he was 12.
280, 290. I'm being nice. Well, whatever it is, it works for him.
And that works for Phillips. He whipped it down the left field line. What an at bat. Smith comes home. And Paul Phillips in the second with a double. That was an impressive at bat. He fouled off some nasty pitches. And he got a slider and he pulls it over Blake's head. And it's an 8-5 ball game.
Yeah, very good at bat for him because he got some nasty sliders. That appeared to be a slider. As you can see the slide spin on the baseball. And it hung to the middle of the plate. He didn't get it outside. And Phillips made him pay for it. Right over the head of Casey Blake down the left field line. Fair by 3 or 4 feet. Seth Smith comes in to score. And it's a 3-run ball game.
Ian Stewart will take his turn. This is his second at bat since coming into the ball game. He walked in the 7th inning. Broxton, for what it's worth, he's listed in the Dodger media guide at 6'4", 294. before breakfast. It's the first RBI for Paul Phillips since May 17, 2007. More than 2 years, so congratulations to Paul. Kept grinding away, grinding away. And right now, with Chris Iannetta down, he's back in the big leagues. Closers, George, sometimes have trouble getting the adrenaline rush when he entered the game, even though it's a safe situation, up 4.
Yeah, I don't want to say that. I think it's more the situation, who he's facing, and I'll be honest with you. After a night game, day game like today, kind of sitting out the bullpen, it's a cool, breezy day, just kind of relaxing, and then you're getting ready to come into the ball game, and it takes that base hit that Phillips just got to light the fire a little bit more and get after it. You always want to never allow runs to score. You particularly don't want to paint up your bullpen at all, your mates.
Bowman's line is done. He faced one hitter and gave up an earned run. And this is fouled back, 3-2. Dexter Fowler will be next. 1 out. Rockies have 2 runs here in the 9th inning. They have 3 hits in the inning, which almost matches their total entering the inning. They had 4 hits coming into the 9th inning. Three and 2 on Ian Stewart. Paul Phillips at second base.
The outfield's playing deep, nothing over their heads. Try to prevent the doubles, keep it to singles if the ball's put in play. Emergency hack to keep it alive.
Yeah, I was watching Broxton, looking at the signs from Russell Martin, George, and the runner at second, he's going to flash a series of signs, but he's got 2 pitches.
Well, it's more about location now. Is it in or out? Fastballs are going to be 95 to 100.
Right.
So if it's a fastball and you read it to try to react to it, but is it going to be in or out? That's probably more than likely what they're trying to run on direction. Hard slider. You're going to put it on my knee, or you're going to put it on his back foot. I mean, he's left-handed. There's not a whole lot to the equation with Broxton.
Pulls that hat down over the eyes. Got the pointy sideburns. Here's the 3-2 again, and that's inside. Now the Rockies have the tying run at the plate in Dexter Fowler. There's a couple of home runs. Those came early. Joe Torre doesn't like his seat anymore. He's going to get up and stretch.
Yep, missed by that a lot because they're talking about trying to run the pitch in here, out here on this outside corner. And then all of a sudden here this pitch runs inside. They don't get the call.
So 2 on for Fowler. He would be the tying run. And that misses. The velocity's there. We go back and revisit our adrenaline question.
Sure, the location's
the command's not.
No, it's not. And this is a guy that's only walked, 7 guys, Doug? Struck out 36 now in 23 2/3 innings. It's not like he has a tendency to lose command of everything.
And George, to your point earlier, This is the last thing Joe Torre wanted to do. He starts a 4-game series at Wrigley Field tomorrow. The next pitch for Broxton's is 20th.
And only 1 out.
And he's only got 1 out. And it's 2-1. Dexter Fowler has struck out a fair share. Kind of comes in runs for him. He's been swinging the bat pretty well the last week. But one thing about Dex, he will make you throw strikes.
Make you throw strikes. If he puts the ball on ground, it's not going to be an easy double play either. Keep the inning alive.
And he had a quality hack. I'm telling you, he was on that 97-mile-an-hour fastball right there.
You know, and you start to look around, too, at Broxton's numbers. You try to separate day-night. This is a heater to inside. Just enough angle and enough velocity to keep that ball from the middle of the bat where Dexter could have done a lot of damage.
Two kids from Georgia with a whole lot of talent, Broxton and Fowler. And the slider's fouled off. And you got to figure, because they're the same age, you got to figure at some point, whether it was summer league or high school, these two competed against one another.
I bet they did, yeah, about the same age. Dexter, what's a little bit older, a little younger, same exact age. But they're going at it.
Two and two. Phillips and Stewart aboard. 3-2 with Tulowitzki on deck.
Before this appearance by Broxton right now, you think of these numbers. His day numbers, an earned run average of 3.60. The average at 118. I know that's not great. His nighttime numbers, though, an 050 earned run average. And the average against 085 batting average. So during the day, obviously, the number's not as good as nighttime numbers for Broxton.
No. I said they're the same age. Actually, Dexter's a year younger than Broxton. But you got to figure at some point they competed against one another. Three-two, ball four. Now the plot thickens. Tulowitzki coming up, Helton on deck. Jonathan Broxton, who normally has impeccable control, has walked 2 in a row.
And Honeycutt's going to pop out of that dugout. They don't have anybody warming up. Obviously, it's his ball game. You're still, I think the one thing you get reassured by a pitching coach when he comes to the mound now is, look, you still got a 3-run lead, but you're getting us into this deeper hole where you're getting into 2, 3, 4, and 5 into their lineup. You know, let's just go ahead and attack the strike zone. Don't be so cute about it. You got a 3-run lead. You're throwing 100 miles an hour. Let's go right at some guys. Just build a little bit of confidence in them while you're in this short trip out to the mound.
Now, Troy Tulowitzki can turn the tide on what has been a rough day at the ballpark. He's 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts.
But this year has struggled with the bases loaded. 0 for 5. The Rockies with the bases loaded, hitting 367 for the year of 09. Oh, you're right. Big base hit here. Don't try to hit. Don't try to hit it out of the ballpark. Swing at. Just get a base hit, put the ball in play, and try to get peck away, get a couple of runs.
George, that's a great point. He gets a base hit. It's a 1-run game. You have one of the game's great hitters on deck.
Well, not only that, you get a base hit, a single, could be into the gap. You're going to have a runner at third and 1 out. 2's going to score because of Dexter's speed, unless it's just right at somebody.
And you have the perfect guy as a tying run now, Dexter Fowler at first base. But don't think big, just hit it where it's pitched. Of course, easier said than done with Broxton, but let's see what transpires. Here's the 0-1. And that's a strike, 0-2.
Well, think small, hope big, you know.
And oftentimes, that's how it happens. You don't see too many guys looking to hit a home run who hit a home run. go. No swing. Close. 90-mile-an-hour slider.
Yeah, to low down into the strike zone. A lot of times you can see umpires, they'll go ahead and try to ring a guy up when he just splits the catcher like that knee high. Don't worry about whether he's swung or not. They get caught up in the moment.
That's down the right field line. Foul ground's going to be in the seats. Right now, Jonathan Broxton, he's used to coming in, it's 12 pitches and it's shake hands.
Yeah, he's talking about this is like a 3-inning night for him right now. 3-inning deal with 28 pitches now, and he's not done yet.
And keep in mind, folks, if you're skipping around and just came aboard, Broxton didn't start the inning. He came in after 2 pitchers had already thrown to a hitter in the inning. Belisario gave up a hit. Omen came in against Smith, the lefty, and gave up a triple. Broxton came in, he struck out Barmes. Then he gave up a double to Phillips, a walk to Stewart, a walk to Fowler. Here's the 1-2. 2-2. It was 8-3 when the inning began.
Well, he's only thrown, think about this, 30 pitches twice in 09. This is the 30th of the inning for him right now.
Here's a 2-2 to Tulowitzki. And this is fouled off out of play. So now Tulo's confidence grows a little bit. You know, the guy on deck just relishes these situations. Doesn't matter how long you played, how many opportunities you've had in these situations. Gets the heart beating a little faster. The butterflies kicking a little bit more. He wants a shot. Here's the 2-2 again. Tulowitzki fouls off a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
And Tulo 0 for 8 in his career against Broxton. He may not win the battle, but at least he's extending this battle. The times that Broxton threw 30 pitches in a ball game once was 2 innings. The other time an inning and 2/3. He's just trying to get 2 outs here, and he's at 31.
Again, the tying run at first base and Dexter Fowler. And he got him with a slider. So there are 2 outs, and Todd Helton will come to bat.
That hard slider that was up into the strike zone and away. He fed him 2 straight fastballs on the outer half of the plate before going to a bunch of sliders. And again, Tulowitzki did a pretty good job battling off those sliders till this last one was able to get him.
Helton today 0 for 4, which has been a rare occurrence for Todd over the last month. Helton's 2 for 2 this year with the bases loaded, including a grand slam. Two for 7 with a home run against Broxton. And it's 2-0. The outfield naturally could not be any deeper. Their whole focus is to prevent number 24 from scoring. So Ethier's 2 steps from the warning track. Kemp is about 380 away, and Juan Pierre is exceptionally deep.
Strong arm in center, above average in right, below average in left. That dictates a lot of what Richie Dyer does at third base and where the ball's hit and who gets it off the wall.
Helton lines it foul. Stewart walked. He's at second base. Dexter Fowler walked. 8-5 LA. Bottom of the 9th inning. Two and one to Todd. 3-1. Matt Merton is on deck. It's like an NBA coach. You're out of timeouts. You're just going to watch what happens. Broxton's Joe Torre's guy. Here's the 3-1. Outside, ball 4. It's now 8-6 as Helton goes to first. And Brad Hopp has emerged from the dugout. He will hit for Matt Merton.
I know, really, and why not? 6 for 12 with a home run against Broxton. How about those numbers for Brad Hopp?
I mean, not only can you not call a timeout, George, you can't visit the mound anymore. It's all about whether Broxton can get Hopp. The tying run is at second. The winning run is at first. Do you go pinch run for Todd Helton here?
Well, that's a good question. If you look down at it, it's going to be Quintanilla that'll have to go do that. That leaves you with just Torrealba on your bench.
I'll tell you,
could run out Marquis, but Marquis to start the game Friday. You don't want to run it. Do you want to run that chance?
Here's why you may not do it either, because if you tie it up and go extra innings, you want Mr. Helton in the game.
Well, hell, that's right. You want his bat in the ball game. The other side of this is Hopp may not be ready to go play defensively, so you got to keep Quintanilla. He would have to go to third. I mean, there's a lot of things that would be rotated around to make it work that way.
Yeah.
But hey, you got to score 2 before you got to worry about all that too.
The best player in Major League Baseball with runners in scoring position this year at the plate, pinch hitting, Brad Hopp. Slowly hit. Now Hopp's got the groin injury. He stayed on the bag, and that is the ball game. Castro able to get Brad Hopp at first. The Rockies made it interesting in the 9th inning. They scored 3 runs. Broxton survives. It took him nearly 40 pitches to get the